These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? We're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type, might seduce your dad type. I'm the bad guy. Duh.
These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's Barley Basket.
Welcome to America's Barley Basket. I am your host, Nathan Fulsbach. Sitting beside me virtually is the other host. That just doesn't sound well nice.
Man, all right.
Yeah, wow, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Things are still... this is good. We got Laurel and Hardy vibes already.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast ain't big enough for the two of us.
Animosity already.
Marlin Wells is his name.
Hello, Nathan. How are you?
Hello, Marlin. I am fine. How are you?
Not bad. Just kind of... I don't know what day it is anymore, Nathan. Mm-hmm. It's like, if it weren't for this podcast and that being a landmark of the week, I would genuinely not have a clue.
Yeah, just have no idea. Is it January? Is it December? Well, you probably know it's January because of New Year's.
Even that?
And even that this year was a pretty soft. New Year.
I just sat here in my apartment, like watching TV or something that night, and then looked at my phone and was like, "Oh, it's 12:30. Oh, it's new. Oh, I guess today was New Year's Eve, huh?"
I guess I missed when they drag out the reanimated corpse of Dick Clark to celebrate the New Year.
Oh, I guess I don't have my noisemaker or party hat around.
It'd have been better if you did. Alone in your apartment.
It's just always on the end table. Yeah. Just a little. Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Well, scared the cat.
It's a long, slow exhale.
How to make this party favor sound sad.
Yeah. That exhale alone sounds like someone doing a maraca solo.
Ooh, got a real rattle in them lungs.
A healthy person's lungs don't sound like that unless they're very ill. Just always got a little bit of that fluid in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a little gravy, a little of that lung butter.
I hate to jump into the Simpsons talk this early on a Simpsons podcast.
This is bad. I am befuddled.
This is breaking news. I fell down a hell of a Wikipedia rabbit hole last week.
Oh boy!
And I, ass backwards, stumbled into some Simpsons trivia, because last week we watched, I think it's like the second to last episode of season 7, Homer Palooza.
Oh yes.
And there's a bunch of bands. It's like, because it's a music themed episode. Did you know, Marlin, in the episode Homer Palooza in season 7, that the band No Doubt is in the crowd? It's during the scene, I believe, when Homer is in the crowd, like trying to blend in.
And everyone's calling him a narc and shit. Okay.
I think it's that. No, actually, I might be wrong. It might be after he avoids the cannonball and, the kids don't think he's cool and he jumps off the stage. It actually might be then when he's in the crowd. If you look, the band No Doubt is clearly visible. Like you could see, it was that weird time when, like, what's her name? Gwen Stefani wore these big giant sunglasses. She did that a lot, like in the mid 90s and like the promotional pics. And the story is Gwen's brother, Eric, who was in No Doubt, was an animator on The Simpsons.
Weird.
And he's like, fuck, I'm going to draw us in there. And sure enough, the band No Doubt, it's like right before they popped. Like, it's like, well, this was right when they were popping. But like, so yeah, like they would have been just becoming a relevant thing. And he quit the band right as they popped.
Jeez.
That's a fascinating thing when that happens in rock bands. Like, he was just kind of frustrated with it. I mean, he was like one of the 2 or 3 main creative forces of No Doubt. Like, huge songwriter, like a lot of the music. I don't know so much of the lyrics, but like he was helping build the songs. And he was, technically, if you look at like that Tragic Kingdom album, they're a 5-piece band. Like, it's 5 of them in all the pictures, including Eric. But he's like, I don't like the direction this is going. He was just frustrated with something. He's like, nope. I'm going to be like whatever my day job is instead.
And just bailed. That's fucking wild.
What a time to bail on that band. Like they're legit, like arguably top 5 biggest bands on the planet from like 95 to 2002 or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
probably somewhere around there. I'd believe that. But holy shit.
Another band of that era that kind of had something like that was the original drummer from Blink 182.
Oh, sure, yeah. He bailed,
Travis
and then
Barker.
they got Travis Barker.
And I mean, he was there when they were, they had music videos on MTV. That Dude Ranch album had like 2 singles, like Josie and Damn It. They were fucking in heavy rotation. And I think he just said, like, I don't like this. It's not fun anymore. I don't like being a big major label band, which, hey, man, each their own. But I would.
Yeah, if that makes him happy, then go for it. But God, then it's got to be weird to watch them be the biggest band in the world for a while.
There's just some people that must not hate work as much as I do. That alarm goes off at 7 a.m. They're just fucking psyched. Like, yeah, man, this is it. Holy shit, it's Monday. I got 4 more days of this. That's so great.
I can't wait for all the emails waiting at the office.
Yo, man, I hope a bullshit meeting gets called. Oh, that'd be so great.
Please, come on.
Yeah. Or or it's like, oh man, if only the water pump could blow out on this garbage truck right now. I can just hang out like an asshole and wait for someone to come get me. Then we gotta lug it back. Oh,
if I could
is it gonna start raining? Great.
If I could just stand on the side of the road in my wet, garbage-soaked coveralls, waiting on a tow, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Oh god, could someone have like a bunch of bees in that dumpster? Oh, it's gonna be so awesome to unload that beehive dumpster shit water. Oh man. I briefly was a garbage man, Marlin, and I'll tell you right now, one of the best jobs I ever had. I mean, if you exclude pay and shit, I fucking loved it.
What was it? What was the highest of high points?
My whole thing was, I did it in the summer. You got the shit work done when it was nice and cool. If that makes sense. Like, you didn't have to fucking do shit. And it started early, which I did not like setting my alarm for 5:30 in the morning when I was 19 years old, but I was done. I mean, we didn't punch out till like 2, but we were effectively done by noon, and we just stayed on a site for 2 hours and then punched out.
Yeah, milk the clock a little.
But yeah, I loved it, man. Just done. You just like, and I'd always, you're gonna like watch movies and read, do cool shit in the afternoons. I mostly slept, but the option was there. Mm-hmm. And the one bummer was I had to get up, and we had to work like 2 hours every Saturday morning. We had to just hit the dumpsters of the major, like the hospital and shit like that.
Sure, the school.
Which, when you have a burgeoning drinking problem when you're 19 years old, I, handful of times, drove right from the party I was at to get in the garbage truck. The garbage truck, one time, I was riding on the back, hanging with one arm as a garbage truck employee does. He watched in terror as my eyes slowly closed, and I fell asleep. And I fell off the back of a moving garbage truck on a paved fucking road. Holy shit. I thought I felt hungover already. Hold that next day. Because it was a Saturday, so I'm sure I kept the Jeep rolling all fucking night.
I'm sure.
It's like, holy shit, I felt like I fell out of a moving vehicle. Wait a second. I would be in traction for 6 months if that happened to me now. But when you're 19, oh, fuck, man. Don't need stitches. Back up the truck. Let's get going.
I think you are probably part of a very exclusive, tight-knit club, very small club of people who can say they fell asleep and fell off a garbage truck.
I'd like to, I bet the blood pressure of that group, that bottom number is definitely in triple digits.
Yeah, the whole...
those blood pressure scores look like a 1980s NBA Denver Nuggets basketball score. Well, Doug Mosher pushed the pace in those games. 144 to 140.
You and the rest of the Lipitor boys gonna go collect garbage in the morning.
Well, Kiki Vandaway lit it up last night. These scores are an indication.
Just somehow envisioning you and 4 other guys who look just like you.
Yep, just varying ages.
Just slow-mo walking towards the camera like all the right stuff in your garbage uniforms.
Man, I never worked there long enough to get the uniform. I'd like to have gotten a one piece I could have wore.
Oh man, yeah, that's something about a nice pair of coveralls. I always really loved.
God, the garbage men is just going the way of the buffalo. Almost every major city now has the trucks that have like the fork arm that just straddles the side of the big dumpster or the big garbage can that you wheel out. You just dump it and drops it back down. No human interaction. No one riding in the back of the truck. How are kids supposed to learn profanity? It was like it takes a village. Like the garbage truck are part of an important part of that ecosystem.
Yeah, how are they going to learn?
I mean, you shouldn't say racial slurs, but I think it's good to know them. And that's what garbage truck guys brought to the community.
You should know them so you can point them out elsewhere, so you can police them elsewhere a little bit.
You should know what a word means and what group of people it's directed towards.
Mm-hmm. You should know
you
the
shouldn't
rules
say that
before
about the
you
Dutch.
be breaking them. Yeah, about the Dutch.
They add a lot to this community, Buster.
I don't know that the Dutch have any slurs. Is there a slur for the Dutch? Probably. I don't know what you would call a Dutch person if you were trying to insult them.
In Deadwood, the main brothel owner refers to the Scandinavian immigrants as squareheads. I wonder if that fits the Dutch as well.
I've heard that outside of that show.
Oh, interesting. Really? I had never.
Yeah. I don't know what maybe that should be our new goal, is to try to come up with a slur for the Dutch.
It's like Scandinavian people as a culture, it's so obscure that we make fun of ourselves just so we can feel like we're part of the gang.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Norwegian jokes are a thing the same way Polish jokes or blonde jokes. They're all the same joke. You just replace the one word.
Everyone's grandparents have a tattered paperback copy of a book that says like Ole and Lena jokes somewhere in their junk drawer.
Absolutely.
That was just a cultural thing in this part of the world.
You just make fun of Norwegians.
Do you think Polish people tell Polish jokes? I don't know. Maybe that's like hurtful for them. Because they are
maybe it hits them really hard.
Yeah, because they've had a rough run of things, I don't know if you're a man of history, Marlin, but the World Wars didn't go so hot for Poland.
Yeah, I don't know how up on the Polacks you are, but it's been a rough run. It'd be
like having every couple decades have like a giant gang war fight in your house that you're not a part of. Well, fuck this. Let's take their TVs too. Hey,
God damn it!
This doesn't even involve us
again, guys.
Why can't you do this in your guys' neighborhoods? This is closer. It's middle ground.
Oh, why do we live in between two countries that are trying to blow the shit out of each other all the time?
Okay, this bedroom's ours now. What?
You speak German now. Congratulations. Garbage men, I always appreciate the look. I appreciate the coveralls and the big gloves and the arm hooked into the truck. There's a grab bar somewhere that you got your arm looped in.
Yeah.
Anytime it doesn't happen often, but when I do see that out in the wild, I'm like, it's just a throwback to American. I was about to say workmanship, but it's really poverty is what it is.
The kind of thing you don't think of when you're 19, but it's like, that's a good upper body workout.
Yeah, holding yourself to a moving vehicle all day.
Yeah, and just getting out, throwing garbage cans, or,
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you don't think of because you don't live an absolute sedentary lifestyle. It's like you realize at some point in your life, I'm just not going to move like that anymore.
My body can't twist at the hip like that anymore.
The big step you would take to get onto the back of the garbage truck, my knees would sound like that garbage truck was slowly rolling over wicker chairs. It would be loud enough it would alarm the truck driver. Nope, just my body. Okay,
we're
good
back there.
Yeah. Not really, but keep driving.
Set off a string of black cats.
Oh, man. And they're just looking through people's garbage to see if there's anything cool. Rarely was.
Wait. Really? What did you expect to find?
Bro, there was a shout out to Rocky. He wouldn't give a shit. Guy used to be on the back of the garbage truck. Every house in his home in the 90s had a TV and a VCR in it, all from the trash, baby. A lot of people don't. My grandmother did not own a microwave that my dad or uncle didn't fish out of the garbage, change one lousy fuse in it, and voila, brand new fucking microwave.
I guess I shouldn't squawk too loud. There was I went a decade of exclusively sitting on furniture that I had gotten from curbs. So,
dude,
I'm no better. I shouldn't act like I am.
Many a dismayed roommate has helped me haul in trash furniture. Can you believe someone threw this couch away as it's literally leaking crickets? This couch is cursed, dude. Yeah, it's weird. It's hot to the touch.
It's sopping wet and full of bees. Yeah, I can believe someone threw it away.
That's just honey. That's just honey.
This couch weighs 1,200 pounds because it's full of bees.
Oh, man. Yeah, plenty of, so much. Garbage, man, again, important part of not even the community, the ecosystem, like the human suckerfish. We clean up shit nobody wants. I mean, this fork, sure, it's bent. All the tines point a different direction, but you can pound that out with a mallet.
New fork day.
Yeah. Say one thing right now, you're going to get into the garbage train. Make sure you're up on your tetanus shots because you are handling a lot of rusty things.
Oh, man. Now I wonder if I'm up on my tetanus shots. That's something that doesn't matter until I'm bothered to know it. Like, shit, am I? I don't know.
You're lying in bed with 106-degree fever and the onset of lockjaw. Saw my dad put down a horse that looked like this once. I remember my grandma giving the fear of God into me when it came to tetanus because of a story of someone having lockjaw on the farm once.
Jesus. Well,
we almost lost your aunt that year.
To be fair, lockjaw sounds horrendous.
Yeah. Oh, man. That does not sound like something you want to have happen to you.
Oh, man. I need to check my shots records.
Let's get real here for a second. Faithful listeners,
I feel like in my head,
quick email.
You just spun your chair around and are sitting in it backwards like a youth pastor who's really going to rap to the kids here.
Hey, kids, let's rap. Send a quick email to your primary care doc. Do you not have a primary care doc? Get one. You're not young. If you're listening to this, you're not young. You probably look like shit. That's just a guess. I'll tell you what, 100% of this podcast hosting crew looks like shit.
Absolute dog shit. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm assuming there's a good chance that you relate with us on some level. So, hey, just a quick email. Hey, am I up on my shots? How am I doing, doc? I did just get some kind of shot. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was my tetanus. And there's a thing, there was an alarm on my my online doctor and shit. It's like, I've still not got my HIV vaccine, which is like, what kind of life do they think I'm living? I almost wanted to hug somebody. You think I'm cool enough to get AIDS?
Thanks, man.
Do you know how mentally ill the people are that were willing to have sex with me? Do you think they're doing cool shit? They're fucking other shut-ins.
Check on them. Don't check on me. Don't worry about me. Check on them.
It is just a cycle of sadness. Should have been better. Have any of these people eaten vegetables this year? That's the bigger concern. All getting scurvy.
Get these people some citrus.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me and the HIV vaccine. I'm fine.
I think I go to clubs. What life do you think I'm living?
I mean, I'm not fine, but from an HIV perspective, totally fine.
Not even the hot 100 of things that could happen to me.
I am terrified of needles. Certainly ain't getting it that way. And I am running desperately low on willing volunteers for the other way to get it. So everything's fine here.
I don't know how, how else. I hope there is a chalkboard in your apartment with a list of those willing volunteers. Just a lot of names crossed out.
Yeah, clearly some have been erased, yeah.
There's like one with like a alive question mark after their name.
a lot of one and dones on that list.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
So The Simpsons.
We have some more episodes, 5 of them, as per usual. Episodes 4 through 8 of season 8, cooking along, and I gotta say, right up top, hell of a batch. Hell of a good batch. I was super into this batch. I don't know how you feel about this batch. We haven't talked about it. We never do. But hot damn was I high on these.
That's fact. There was a couple I was kind of bored with. Not bored.
Really?
That's wrong. That's just not blown away by.
Huh. See, I thought these were all fucking top shelf.
One of which is this first episode here.
This was one that you weren't super high on?
I mean, again, yeah. The bar is set so high because we're in such a good, in the golden age still, I would say. So, like, this is still better than 99% of the shit that's on TV, but, like, I wasn't laughing hard during it.
This one got a hold of me in a couple of spots, but probably, I think, the weakest of the 5, but all still strong.
Yep.
This is episode number 4, Burns Baby Burns. And right away I knew I was in for something good because we're going to get some burns. But
yeah, that's true.
Even in this episode, I feel like even in a Burns-centric episode, didn't have enough burns for me.
Yeah.
We start off at the cider mill, where the family is taking a tour of the cider mill. Homer horribly bored with the cider mill, and he sneaks away during the tour, and wouldn't you know it, bumps into Ned, who fucking loves the cider mill, of course. Well,
he mentions that they should get the year pass, and he says pays for itself after the 16th visit. Don't ever change, Ned.
And they're all wearing souvenir apple hats. Like, holy shit. I like the visual, too, of, like, Ned's telling Homer some factoids about cider, and they cut to Homer's head, and his brain just goes, "You stay here, I'm out of here," and his brain floats away, and Homer collapses, and Ned, without missing a beat, is like, "Oh, gee, I gotta get you some cider." Yeah, like, that's his solution for an unconscious man.
Yeah.
We go find our boy Mr. Burns, who is in New Haven, Connecticut, kind of dismayed that the Yale, I'm assuming football team, but some manner of sports team, lost, but is like, hey, we always have, the upper hand as far as being high society and classy goes. And he's riding, they have just hooked up an old-timey, like, bar car from a train to the back of a modern train, which I thought was a hilarious visual. Just this old wooden fancy train car hooked on the back of a fucking Amtrak. I like that he's trying to play pool in a moving train, which does not work. The train comes to a stop because someone threw a couch on the tracks, which isn't touched on at all. Just, there's a couch.
Is that like a common thing in the railway?
Is that a common problem?
Yeah.
What do you think most of the things that trains hit are? Is it vehicles?
Cattle.
You think trains hit cows?
Yeah, I would think in like the out west when like huge herds, a little more open grazing and stuff, so cows just wander off.
Yeah, I bet cows learn pretty quick, though, to stay away from the train.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, now I kind of want to put a couch on the railroad tracks. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucked up.
You know what the sad news is? A lot of it's probably people, like, committing suicide. Like, I know a friend of mine used to work kind of not in the rail industry, but connected to it. And the average train conductor does not make a full career out of it because they can't hack it after they end up killing a few people.
Jesus.
I mean, how terrifying is that you're in the front of a train, you watch a man calmly step onto the tracks and just stare at you, and you can't stop a train. You can try. It's not going to, that guy is in it to win it. He ain't moving, and you're not going to get that. So you just watch in terror as you disintegrate a human being. Or there was a car, stalled on the tracks, and someone's desperately cranking on it and not paying enough attention, not getting out of that car. It's like, oh, God, yeah, think of that.
What is even darker to me, like, yes, that for sure happens. Like, suicide by train is 100% a thing. But that means that it happens often enough that somewhere in train driving school, which is probably not what it's called, they have to, like, have a day dedicated to that, right? Like, Here's what you do. I guarantee that all of these train companies, which I think there's only like 2, but they somewhere in a rule book or a handbook somewhere have standard operating procedure for how to deal with man on tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, think of that. Like, they got to discuss that when you go to Burlington Northern Engineer School. I have a friend that's just got done doing it. So, yeah, like, and it's like a 6-month course or whatever. They have to talk about that.
It has to. It has to come up.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that's a weird day of school that day. But I guess that's not any weirder than the fact that every elementary school student has gone through active shooter drills, you know? So maybe that's not any weirder.
The main reason they have to talk about it during those classes is they got to weed out the people that are sexually aroused by it. Oh, now we got another one. This is just your sick kick, isn't it?
It's probably a pretty easy weed out, too, because it's just like, all right, today we're talking about what to do if someone's determined to die via your train. And one guy in the back goes,
let's have a groan. Find him hunched over looking at the microfiche film of train accidents. Split that bus in half like a Christmas ham.
My example was way less dark than yours, which I feel like is a general.
Pull up your engineer pants and get out of here.
Throw the hat at him, the silly engineer's hat that they probably don't still wear anymore. You turn in your pinstripe bib overalls right now.
I brought this kerchief from home. I don't give a shit.
You think we give these cute whistles to just anybody?
Don't kink shame me.
Oh, man. That makes me want to watch Crash. You ever seen Crash?
Oh, bro, have I ever seen Crash? My word, that is a trip.
That's a good ass movie. Not the Brendan Fraser Crash.
Yeah.
But the other Crash.
David Cronenberg directed it, probably around 98, 99.
Something like that.
Fairly big cast for a movie about people that like to fuck to watch in car crashes.
Yeah, surprisingly deep casting for that.
Yeah, James Spader's in that movie. Oh man, one of the Arquette sisters, Holly Hunter, is in it.
You're missing the man Elias motherfucking Koteas.
Who's that?
Elias Koteas.
Oh, is it Koteas? I always thought it was Kostius. Yeah. I've got that thing, man, where if I mispronounce something once, I mispronounce it for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Amazing actor who is good. He should be in more shit. He really
should.
He was Casey Jones.
Yeah.
Plays a pretty big role in my favorite war movie of all time, The Thin Red Line.
Oh, I've never seen The Thin Red Line.
Oh, yeah. You want to devastate yourself for 3 hours? Go ahead.
I am not much of a fan of war films in general.
And when they're done right, I love them.
I find them to be a little
it's
dry.
Too many hunks for you to really sit down and enjoy a piece of art.
It's like I find them dry, and I generally find them pretty visually uninteresting.
Oh, see, I think Thin Red Line might be the most beautiful visual movie I've ever seen. That's
really
there are multiple scenes that you could just like freeze your DVD player, and it's like, oh, that could be a painting. Like
Get the fuck out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it was the first movie that Terrence Malick made in like 19 years, I think. Because he's just such a oddball. But he makes a movie like once. He's made like 5 movies in 50 years. But the movies he make, my God, do they look good.
Huh. Maybe I'll have to give it a try. I just like obviously, like, especially at our age, like, I think war movie, I immediately think of Saving Private Ryan, which is the most boring thing to look at. The most drab, brown and gray thing to look at ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I
can
that
see.
movie.
I mean, I enjoyed that movie. I've seen it too much at this point, but yeah.
Yeah, not my thing.
You like bright colors.
I do. Like, why watch this when Sam Mendes makes films,
Yeah.
That's a man that knows how to use color.
Well, did you see 1917? Isn't that a Sam Mendes joint? Came out 2 years ago?
No,
Or
that's
just this year.
Isn't that the fucking Chris Nolan movie? Or am I...
No, you're thinking of Dunkirk.
I certainly am. See, they're all the same.
I think 1917 is Sam Mendes.
It is Sam Mendes, yes.
Yeah, it's a trip, man. I went into it. My expectations were probably too high, but I mean, it is something else, dude. And it's almost done in one take.
I was going to say that's the fake one shot movie, right?
Yep. It's definitely worth seeing.
Huh. Yeah, maybe I'll get to it. I don't know.
You sound really psyched.
I'm just not into war movies. Like, so much of my spare time has to be used for more fun things. The world sucks right now. I'm not looking to watch war, I guess.
Yeah. It's tough to watch 3 hours of just human degradation and sadness and then really put your all into Dance Dance Revolution afterwards.
It is, yeah.
That's too vicious of a segue.
Those arrows, they just look sad afterwards. You know how hard it is to upbeat dance to fucking Japanese techno music after just watching the stab in the heart scene from Saving Private Ryan 8 times in a row.
Yeah,
the shush scene. It's tough. It's tough
stuff. Yeah.
You gonna throw on Captain Jack after that and really cut a rug? No, you're not. You're not. You're gonna keep drinking, but not fun drinking. So while the train is stopped, while this couch situation is sorted out, there's a souvenir salesman on the side of the road who is very blatantly Rodney Dangerfield. They don't try to hide it, and they lean into it more than maybe any guest actor.
That's what this kind of just took away from this episode. It's like I was happy we were moving away from less of this, like where it's super, super famous dude playing a character where he's just playing himself, which... And I enjoy Rodney Dangerfield. I think he's fun, but it seemed forced. Like,
yeah, he just is himself in this one. It's not like oh, Jeff Goldblum voiced fucking the Troy McClure's manager. Like, you wouldn't have known that. It's not like they made him Jeff Goldblum. But this just straight up is Rodney Dangerfield.
Yep, totally.
Who I am not the biggest fan of. Like, it's all of his stuff, his movies in particular, are of a time. Like, he's great in Caddyshack. That one where he goes back to school is pretty good.
Yeah, Back to School. They didn't put a lot of thought into that title.
Yeah. I think he's great in Natural Born Killers as like an outside of his comfort zone role.
Yep.
But I'm not the biggest fan. And
holy shit, Ladybugs? Remember Ladybugs? Like kind of a kid's movie. I mean, like a teenage movie.
Is he
like
a soccer coach?
Yeah, and like Brandon, I can't think of the kid's name. He's like a shitty, not a morally good soccer coach. He wants the team to be good, so he convinces that kid to dress up like a girl to make the girl team kick ass.
I do remember that.
Yeah, there is an insane scene in that where they're like in a department store and they're getting him ready to become the girl character. And those two go into a dressing room together. He's like helping him get his wig on. And this woman watched horrified as she hears the most insane things coming. Like, it's like, well, it's not on there right. Well, I don't feel comfortable with this. Well, you're going to have to get comfortable. It is so well done. Like, that's the only eventful thing I remember from that movie. I remember laughing my fucking ass off when I first saw it. Like, when I was like 12.
Yeah,
so maybe it doesn't hold up.
The bystander hearing things out of context, misunderstanding gag is good for a reason. Like, it's a cliche for a reason.
Yep. Yep, very much so.
So this fella is Larry, the souvenir salesman, and he hitchhikes with the Simpsons back to Mr. Burns' house because it turns out that Larry is Burns' son. And he is talking to Burns about, well, how did you and Mom meet, this and that? And Burns reflects back to that day where he, at a reunion for the class of, I believe, 1912?
What is going 1914. I did the math. That means Mr. Burns is 104 years old.
Yep. I'd believe it. I'd buy that.
Oh, God, I laughed at that. Yeah.
That means he was, what, like in his 50s when he and Grandpa Simpson served together in World War II.
Yes. Like his late 40s. He was somehow like a young recruit.
Yep. He was the young whippersnapper that no one liked in the crew. I think we got to keep a running timeline of Burns' life because it's great. He recounts that he was at the college reunion and saw his old flame, and they pull a great swerve where he sleeps with his old flame's daughter, because he's like, oh, and I saw her and I remembered her, and she had aged a little, but I saw past it right to seeing her daughter, and
21-year-old daughter.
So they have Mr. Burns and this lady. They hook up in the museum at like an Eskimo
in front
display.
of the Eskimos,
yeah, and one weird janitor.
His wording of it is so good. Like, we expressed our affection physically, as was the custom at that time. Yeah, that low groan the janitor lets out is good.
Yeah, he's the guy in the back of train driving class for sure with that groan.
Yep.
And then Burns lets him know that once her family found out she was pregnant, they shipped her off to a convent and sent Larry to the orphanage.
Yeah.
Larry ends up working with Homer at the plant, getting in on the family business. He and Homer hit it off right away. All of this, the whole time and all throughout this episode, Larry pretty much exclusively speaks in Rodney Dangerfield one-liners, and that's it.
Yep, which I just didn't. And again, I like Rodney Dangerfield. It just seems super forced.
Yeah.
It seemed like, again, the Simpson writers have carte blanche because the show kicks fucking ass and it's a huge hit. They just, oh man, Rodney Dangerfield meant a lot to me. I love that guy. Let's get him on the show. We'll shoehorn him into an episode.
And I guess Rodney Dangerfield probably one of those guys who, if you're going to cast him, you want him to be Rodney Dangerfield. You don't cast him and then have him play it straight. He's like Nicolas Cage that way.
Yep.
You hire Cage because you want him to be cagey.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. You're not getting Nick Cage to be the wallflower.
Right. The nice, subtle character. Larry not fitting into high society at all. He's kind of an oaf, he's always, and like, because he is just being Rodney Dangerfield, he's also super insulting to everyone.
Yep.
But then it's just like, it's just a joke, relax, which if I had someone in my life, I would cut them out of it because that is shit behavior.
I like the scene where Mr. Burns is trying to get Rodney into or get Larry into Yale.
Yeah.
It's like he spelt Yale with a 6. It's just so great. He would have to build an international airport on Yale's campus for them to let Burns' son in, which I thought was. And they're like, well, we do need an international airport.
Yeah, that's the size of the donation it would take to get him into Yale. Is Burns would have to buy them an airport, which he's not going to do. Burns can't stand him. He finally kind of comes down on him. He finally is Mr. Burns and is mean to Larry. And Homer insists that they should do a phony kidnapping where they fake kidnap Larry, and they do that. They're hiding at the Simpsons. They've moved all of the furniture, the entire living room, down into the basement where they're hiding out, along with the giant war totem, which I always love to see, still in the basement. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite like early Simpsons things that we still call back to every so often. Whenever you're in the basement, you always get to see the war totem.
Yeah, how big it is. It's so great.
They even had it at the garage sale at the George W. Bush episode, and apparently no one bought it because it's in the basement again, which I was pretty happy about.
Yeah.
The newscopter catches Larry and Homer leaving the house, and they end up in a series of decent sight gags of them trying to hide from the police as they're chasing them. They show them run into a costume store, and then it does a wipe like some time has gone by, and two people in costumes come walking out, but then it cuts to inside the costume store where the guy working there flings open the fitting room door and is like, if you gotta buy a costume or leave, because they're just hiding in there.
Just crouching in the changing room.
Yeah, such a good gag. They end up at the Aztec Theater. No one will see us here at the showing of Too Many Grandmas. They figured that no one's going to come into this piece of shit, but there is someone there, your favorite, Hans Moleman, who is just trying to enjoy the movie.
Yep.
But they bully him and throw popcorn at him. They're like, you don't like it? Call the police. And he does. Hans Moleman, sticking up for himself, not going to put up with this shit. He calls the cops who show up at the theater. It's looking like Homer and Larry are going to try to get away. They're up on the roof of the theater, and there's an impassioned speech from Homer about, the value of family or whatever. They have the Simpsons moment at the end of it.
Yep. Wrap it up with a nice little journey, which I always like. That's a nice ending.
Yeah, and you think that Burns is going to have a moment, a trademark Simpsons moment, where he's going to hug Larry and accept him as his son, warts and all, and love him for who he is, but he's just like, nah, I can't do that. And then Larry just goes, it's probably for the best. I got a wife and kid, and I told him I was going out for coffee. That was over a week ago. Just, complete Rodney Dangerfield shit. Yeah. And then music starts playing, and they all have a party via, kind of being Rodney's character from Caddyshack.
Yeah.
And Marge is like, where are all these drinks coming from? Because now suddenly everyone has like a cocktail, like a well-made, fancy-looking cocktail. Yeah. And he's like, just go with it. And that's the end of the episode.
The ending of Caddyshack is so ridiculous. It's just Rodney Dangerfield goes, hey, everybody, we're going to get laid. It's like, there are 200 people there. And they all cheer. And then, everyone's partying. And that's how it ends. What a great ending.
Yep.
There was a scene earlier. It's that dinner scene at Burns's mansion when you can tell things are going to reach like a boiling point with just how shitty Larry is. And it's really tense. Except Homer doesn't pick up on anything tense because he's adult. Yeah. And Mr. Burns is talking about, have you ever met somebody that's this and just how terrible they are? And fucking Homer's like, yeah, have you ever met this kid named Milhouse? I love how little Homer thinks of Milhouse.
So much so that, like, he brings him up to another adult.
Why would this elderly man know who Milhouse is? Have you ever met this kid called Milhouse? Does he call him a dud? I might be getting mixed up with last week when they're playing that board game.
Last week he for sure called him a dud.
Hey, look, this kid looks like the dud. That's you, Poindexter. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I love Homer's like distaste for Milhouse.
Yeah. Do you know this kid called Milhouse? What an insane thing to bring up at a dinner party.
To another adult. Like,
yep.
Holy shit. Yeah, that one, the weakest of the 5, I think, for sure. And mostly, for me anyway, due to the presence of Larry and how he was written. Because he's kind of insufferable. But I guess the character's meant to be that, so maybe they just did a good job.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes it's hard for me to like parse out the difference between this isn't good and this is written to be bad and it's written well, so it's not good. You know what I mean? It's like when someone does a really good job making an ugly painting. You're like, well, fuck, I don't know what to think of this now.
There were plenty of contemporary sitcoms that ran for multiple seasons and were very successful, that their best episode isn't as funny as that episode.
Yes.
That's how good The Simpsons is.
For sure.
There's not one episode of Major Dad that would make me laugh like that episode made me laugh.
Yeah, you're probably right, especially at the time in late 1996. Probably not a lot of real hot shit out there.
Yeah. So we are up to episode number 5, Homer After Dark.
Bart,
or is it Bart After Dark? Did I get that title wrong?
Yeah, Bart After Dark.
Of course I did. Bart After Dark. Starts off, we get there's some kind of like oil barge crash that's in the news because there's a beach covered in oil, all sorts of beautiful marine life drenched in oil. We get to see, it turns out it is somehow the local sea captain was very drunk. He is on the news. And was this around the time of the Exxon Valdez crash? I picture that being more in the early 90s, but I mean, only a few. Are you old enough to remember when the Exxon Valdez spill was a big thing?
I mean, I have for sure heard of it, but I don't remember it being a thing at the time. I did just check.
It turned out that guy was wasted too. Like that
was in '89.
No, yeah, okay. I was just gonna say that. I feel like that was more like when I was a little kid. Yeah, so. But I mean, hey, yeah, it's a timeless comedy trope.
Yeah, The Simpsons used it 7 years later.
Yeah, so Lisa sees that, and of course, Lisa, ever the environmentalist, wants to go help clean up the animals, and Marge, just realizes that isn't feasible, but Lisa just keeps working on her as kids do, and convinces Marge. Of course, Bart and Homer are going to be part of this.
Yep.
There's a great scene when they're loading up the car and ready to leave, and she's rattling off the things that Homer has to do, and Homer can't even grasp like the first line of it. And she does like a managerial decision on the fly, like, I'm taking Maggie with us.
Yep, takes Maggie along.
That taking a baby without loading up any of the baby supplies and taking off across the country is safer than leaving her with the father. Because I thought about that. They wouldn't have Maggie's shit with them. She just grabbed that baby and left.
Yep. There's no like big diaper bag or anything like that. Just, you know what? I'm taking Maggie too.
Yeah. So, of course, that leads to Homer and Bart living like fucking squatters. Just shin deep in the trash is so good. There's just like cartons of eggs in the living room.
There's like a bunch of donuts with one bite taken out of them. It's just garbage. You can't see the floor.
They're like 8-year-olds that just like became adults, like the movie Big. Bart finally goes outside, sees the world, and I believe, is it Milhouse that has a remote-controlled airplane?
Yep, he has a remote-controlled plane that he is just flying completely level because that is the holy grail of being a good model airplane pilot.
Yeah, the true mark of... I don't get, model airplanes like that, they gotta be expensive. How fast do they gotta go to take off,
I have no idea. We never got into, my dad flirted briefly with the idea of getting into RC cars, but I don't think ever wanted to spend the money.
on the outskirts of my hometown, there was always a sign for like the Botno Balsa Busters. Now that I think about it, that might have been some kind of flying remote-controlled airplanes or something made out of balsa wood because it's light as shit, you know? So that must have, I wonder if that was a thing at one point. Like, I remember seeing things like that in toy magazine or catalogs. It's like, well, it's fucking $200. May as well be $200 million when I'm that age. Like, I don't even know what $200 looks like when I'm 5 years old. Like,
I vaguely remember when I was maybe like 14, 15, around in there, RC helicopters becoming weirdly popular.
I kind of remember them every once in a while popping up, yeah. And you're like, there's RC cars, like the chintzy $20 ones, but then there was like fucking serious competitive RC cars too, like had to fucking mix gas to get more moving parts than a exactly. Gotta go get some AMSOIL from the Polaris dealership in the other town.
This is a chainsaw motor on here. This is this thing can move. Yeah, my dad, I remember, bought like because I don't know what the catalyst for it was, but he definitely at one point was like, maybe I'll get an RC car and have that, and he kind of went in the middle and got like $120 one or something like that. So didn't lose his mind on it or anything, but then you're just the kid scared to death to crash the thing, so you're just driving it slowly around the yard.
I never was a big remote control, usually because we're getting the cheap stuff. It just never appealed to me, especially the ones that had a cord. It's like, man, you play with it that afternoon. It's like, well, that's done. It's like, I'm just getting like, I remember we had a remote control, like, it must have been my brother's toy because I was older. Like, we had a remote control Chevy Blazer. What an interesting decision by that toy company. Let's make it. It was like the S10. It's like, let's make a sensible SUV, because that's what kids said. You know, the S10 gets much better mileage than the full size.
Yeah, I always thought that I always thought that when you went to like tractor implements to get parts or anything like that, there was always model tractors on the wall. And like, we had a couple toy tractors as a kid, but I always remember like, who comes in here and is just like, fuck yeah, I gotta have that. But
there's collectors for that shit.
Yeah, I know of people who are like, oh, I collect all this, you know, Farmall or Case IH, whatever their brand is.
Yep, and they're like high end. They're well made and they're expensive. Yeah, like, funny you brought back a memory I hadn't thought of. We had in our house growing up, like, really nice remote control like Caterpillar, like the heavy equipment. We had one payloader. I think we had a dump truck too, and they kicked ass. Like, they had working lights. They even had smoke. I think you put a little bit of lighter fluid in them and it would burn off smoke for exhaust. But they were so nice, my dad wouldn't let us play with them.
Perfect.
They were up on the top shelf above the garbage can. And we would have been punted like a fucking football if my dad would have came home and found those in the fucking sandbox. Just, there would have been a popping sound and a lifeless 8-year-old's body flying through the air, collapsing the hood of a 1983 Ford LTD.
That would have been that would have been your Cameron and Ferris Bueller moment of taking the car and hoping that he doesn't notice when he gets home.
Yeah. Funny, yeah. Like, you could tell I didn't care about remote control cars that much because I don't even remember being that bummed. I remember getting over it pretty quick.
Like, it wasn't even that tempting, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, fucking worth more than all my toys combined. So, like, you would think it would have been more of, like, the forbidden fruit, but no, I just wasn't a remote control car guy.
Just, I don't even want that, actually.
Yeah. There was a toy, I must have been sold at like a dad type store, like a Nodak or like a Hardware Hank. It was this like solid body robot, except that the arms turned and they had like clamper pincher hands that were like spring activated, and I don't even think the head turned, and that too could burn off a little smoke, and like the eyes blinked and it would like spin around. Almost every one of my friends had that robot. None of us like cared for it because it wasn't cool. It was like, I think it was just some ingenious company realized sometimes parents forget things, and when your dad is buying cigarettes and he's like, holy shit, it's Christmas Eve in 3 hours.
Oh shit.
I don't think we got the boy anything.
Well, look at this big dumb robot. He'd probably like that. I don't know.
He's into silly shit like this. You know what I bet? I bet there's like a plastic farm set with like a metal barn and little plastic hay bales. He looks at the silly ass robot, has a moment where he realizes, I guess my kid's not like me, and picks up that robot.
It's a powerful moment in a dad's life.
Wistfully wishes he had a kid that wanted that toy farm set.
Yep.
That motherfucker's on the roof of the trailer with a plastic sword. He's a goddamn space cadet. He doesn't care about round bales at all.
I mean, that's why they sell toys at like truck stops too. Those gotta be just for forgetful dads.
For forgetful single dads. It's like, I start talking about alfalfa, he immediately glazes over. He doesn't even care. I asked him about summer follow. He doesn't even know what it means.
I tried to bring up sorghum. He fell asleep.
I think he just eats pure sugar. He's always falling asleep. Christ, he's 14.
Listen, son, the differences between Sudan grass and common American corn are pretty. There's quite a few of them once you get to looking.
This is the exciting part.
Oh, fuck.
You're sitting there trying to think of, could I make my own Transformers? Good times. So, Marge and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So Bart ends up joining in and watching as Nelson rips the controls away from Milhouse, and he's flying the plane all over town and ends up crashing it onto the roof of a scary old-timey house, which is a common thing in like kids type things where you lose the baseball over the fence or you lose the frisbee over the fence. In this case, it's the room. And they're all scared of the house. And Bart, of course, he's fearless. He climbs a tree, gets up on the roof, gets that model plane, and ends up knocking over a giant cement gargoyle. And the scary old lady comes out, and now it's on. He's in trouble. And flash over to, we're now on the western coast of the U.S., and there's oil everywhere. And they get there, and Lisa's so excited to help, until it turns out all these celebrities have shown up, and they're cleaning all the cute animals.
Yeah, they've taken all the cute animals for photo ops.
So all that's left for the Simpsons to clean up are the dirty, oil-covered rocks. Just so great. And Marge's like, we have dirty rocks. We could clean at our house.
Yeah, I have rocks at home that need washing. She's so bitter about this.
Yeah.
But determined to, like, stick it out with Lisa.
Yeah. And just Maggie's there with a tiny little like toothbrush, just haphazardly rubbing a rock with it. And then flash forward to the Simpsons. The crotchety old lady is dragging Bart by his ear to the Simpson household, knocks on the door, and Homer answers the door wearing what appears to be a grocery bag.
A paper grocery bag.
A paper grocery bag. It's so great. She's very angry, explains what he did. So, well, I was going to punish him. I was going to call the police, but I will leave it up to you to punish him. And he's like, laughs. Oh, punishment. That's what Marge does. So she is very angry and this and that. And it ends up, he's like, well, let's do what Marge would do. This is what your mom would make you do. You're going to have to go over there and help her with chores. But before that, we do see a great sight gag where he shuts the door and all of the groceries that were somehow still in that bag fall out the bottom of it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So he has to go over there and he helps. And it turns out that crotchety lady is super delightful because she runs a clandestine fucking house of burlesque. And it's very cool and exciting and tons of people there. And Bart fits right in. Right away, I think he's just like the doorman. No, he helps unclog a drain. He doesn't do the glamorous shit right away.
Yeah, but then eventually starts working the door.
Yeah,
that place is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Just
holy shit, is it ever.
Weird, fantastic old house. Like, right away, I was like, holy shit, that house is amazing. It looks like I don't know, like a big plantation home or antebellum home. And then, you get inside, and there's gambling, who we right away see Lionel Hutz on the craps table.
Of course.
And there's... people are smoking cigars and watching burlesque shows. Such a fucking great place.
And there's some great comedy too, or like there's like old time, because that's how Bart kind of really gets into it, is the little. We don't say midget anymore. That's a hurtful term. Little fella, the little fella that was supposed to tell jokes.
Fella, sure.
The little fella. He calls in sick, and Bart's the only one that can fit into his tiny tuxedo.
Yeah.
So he's reading those jokes like monotone off cue cards. It's so great.
Yeah, Bart doing someone else's stand-up routine was pretty great. If you run into trouble out there, there's a button on the suit that makes the bow tie spin.
Yeah. And how is it the church, is it the Lovejoys and the Flanderses that try to put a stop to it first?
Yeah, they end up going over to Homer's to talk about him, and they found out because Skinner went in there then narked on him to the Jesus freaks that Bart was working there.
Yeah.
We also, kind of during this chunk, we got to see, again, a thing that I've seen on the internet where Abe Simpson comes in, takes his hat off, hangs it up, turns around, sees Bart, takes his hat, puts it on, and walks out the door.
One fluid motion. How many pokes is your name Bart?
Yeah. Just needs to make sure that it's Bart.
Yeah. Yeah, so, God, this is... When we're talking about some of these episodes didn't hit for me, this is not one of them. I was into this episode.
When Homer answers the door, which this scene with the Jesus freaks out there, with the Lovejoys and the Flanders, when he opens the door and goes, "Oh, this isn't going to be about Jesus, is it?" Fuck. Oh my God, I was dying.
And it's during that scene when they're talking about Bart working there, and Marge, it happens, just finished with the cleaning of the rocks, and she overhears all of this, and she is not happy.
No.
She's not happy about Bart working there, and furthermore, she's not happy that something like that exists in her hometown to begin with. So she goes...
It's at that point I wrote down, because she says verbatim, I wrote the quote down, "A place like that in our wholesome town," and I immediately, my brain put the brakes on, because the belly dancer episode in season 2, when Homer goes to try to find the belly dancer to teach Bart his lesson, he has to stop at 6 or 7 different strip clubs before he finally finds her. I'm like, wait, this town, let's not retcon that this town is some fucking Leave It to Beaver wholesome ass town.
And as we see in that episode where the Bart discovers that bum that actually created Itchy and Scratchy, that town has a just pitiful, destitute area. It's like a war zone.
Yeah. So her being so indignant that there's a fucking place where there's burlesque and gambling is a little disingenuous.
So Marge joins up with the other narcs and wants to get rid of a real cool place. It's a little more of my op-ed material there. And goes to a city council meeting where it's discussed, and they break out a slideshow, and they show some of the more upstanding members of the community have been frequenting that burlesque house, and the wives are mad. The husbands are flummoxed. And there's a great scene where it shows Smithers being there. And he's like, my parents wanted me to try it out.
They insisted that I try it.
Yeah,
that was a good
we
joke.
do know didn't stick. It didn't stick.
Yeah. Turns out that's not how that works, actually. At all.
So, all like, of course, Mayor Quimby crumbles because he's a spineless, pathetic man. And well, we get what we've seen many times, that good old-fashioned Springfield angry mob.
They
and they're
mob up quick.
They do mob up very quick in this town. They're going to tear the goddamn burlesque house down limb for limb. They show up. They just begin destroying everything. And the proprietor comes out and she is like, what's the name of it again? It's something Derriere.
Oh, I forget the name
or the
too.
burlesque house, yeah. I know it's something with Derriere in the title, but they're ripping it apart, and like, and she comes out, she's no, like, and we have a musical number which we haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. A real,
and I'm not usually a fan, but this was a fun one.
Big musical number.
Yeah, like. And of course, what a good musical number does to any angry mob, it pacifies them, and they realize that in the time of that 2.5-minute song, they were very wrong, and this is actually a great part to the community.
Yeah.
And what I thought was just great was, you don't even realize it, Marge isn't there because she was busy like hot wiring a bulldozer, and she plows through like no, we haven't decided to. Like, what do you mean we're not going to tear it down? No, you missed it. There was a song.
You missed the song.
It was very catchy. It's like, I love how they're now like, not even qualms. They have totally agreed that this is a great thing that should be celebrated, not destroyed.
Yeah, and Marge is like, well, can you do the song again? They're like, no, it was a spur of the moment thing. You really had to be there.
It's a big thing. and even she's fairly quickly, okay, I think you guys are right, but I don't know if she kept it in gear. I've never driven a bulldozer, so I guess I'm not sure how the transmission works, but she jumps off and that bulldozer just peels ahead forward and knocks down like a pretty significant portion of the which leads to a great gag where it turns out Marge is working as a ventriloquist to help pay off the damage that she did.
Yep, she's got to be the warm-up act now.
Yeah, it's just terrible. It's like any kind of shitty ventriloquist, I'm sure is. Like, hell, pretty much any ventriloquist.
I was about to say,
terrible.
that's really, that was redundant. There's
good point.
No such thing as good ventriloquism.
I hope there's like 2 or 3 just fucking furious ventriloquists. Like, well, I guess I'm not downloading this fucking horseshit podcast. Come with me, Chuckles. This is all happening in a packed coffee shop, too. Just staring.
So somebody grabbing the dummy off their knee and yanking their earbuds out. I've had it with those barley basket boys.
Yeah,
I put up with a lot of shrimp talk and talking about Gatorade bottles. But as soon as they
I have submitted myself to a lot of fucking punishment for this podcast. They mock my line of work and my passion.
One of them brought up sedan grass earlier, and I still listened. But no, come on, Chuckles. We're done.
And I love when she's up there telling these horrible jokes, and the crowd is pretty sparse, just a lot of 1 or 2 people at random round top tables. And Homer excitedly yells, "Take it off!" And Bart immediately comes up, and it's like he's the bouncer now. Like, hey, take it outside. Like, what?
And tells him, you've been warned already. Like, that's not the first time Homer did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does. He's you've been warned. And again, I think I like the wholesomeness of that they, despite being married for all those years, they are still really into each other.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to this. How the fuck was this show so reviled by conservatives? Like, it is endlessly wholesome.
Yeah, it is. Like, it is such a big-hearted show.
Yeah,
and they were so scared of it.
Yeah, so I think that was maybe just like a season 1 and 2 thing, Because
But even
basically
then,
it was just kind of like
it wasn't like it was.
Oh,
it wasn't
I don't-
pornography back
No,
then.
God, no. I just think back then, it's like cartoons are supposed to be on from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Saturday mornings, and that's it. And they sell sugary cereal, and they don't talk about anything real life, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, just crazy how, like, this is like, even for sitcoms at the time, this show was big-hearted.
Yeah.
Like, because we're kind of into the 90s. Everything's kind of, there's a lot of like sarcasm and being jaded and like, yeah. And this show is the opposite of that. It's all about heart for the most part. Like,
Yeah, it's why it was ever a thing to rally against is beyond me.
yeah.
Like most things, though. I mean, those are probably... It's just the next generation of the same parents who were scared of Kiss, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I assume that's what it is.
Oh man, for those listening, I host trivia for a living, and I hosted a trivia game recently for some college and high school seniors and college freshmen, like 18 and 19-year-olds. And I had a question where Kiss was in the question. Not only did they not know who Gene Simmons was, they didn't know that Kiss was a band.
Oof.
Like they're like, well, what is a Kiss? I'm like, because it's all caps. They know it's something. I'm like, oh, that's a rock band. I'm sorry, that's a rock band. Oh, okay. How, man, I felt like I was fucking 10,000 years old. Like, they did not even understand what it meant, you know? Like, is that music? Is that a book?
What's
like,
a Kiss?
It just,
oh,
yeah,
oof.
yeah,
Man, yeah, that... I just envision you just turning into the knight at the end of The Last Crusade. You're just immediately 1,000 years old.
Yeah, if one team gets it correct just by accident, like, they chose wisely. Oh man. And then a similar situation in another game. This was like more junior high age kids. The playlist that I use is all like inoffensive pop music. And one time, New Kids on the Block came up. And the look on their faces, it was just like they were like saddened and confused by it. Like, what is this supposed to be? It's like, well, this was a hit song in 1990. Like, what? It's like, it was like watching, for them, it was like watching Little House on the Prairie. Like, what a weird way to live. Why would they do this? It's like, I fucking remember when this was new.
Oh, man. God.
The inexorable march of time, Marlin.
Woof. Woof.
Yeah, that's rough stuff.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever had a superior at a job that I was biologically possible that I could have been their parent.
Oof.
I remember thinking that too. Like, I'm 15 years older than you, and you're old enough to be a manager? Like, just like, when did this happen?
Who allowed this to be a thing? It's like with...
I don't remember there being any kind of meeting that we now let this Children of the Corn shit happening. Like, all the rest of the capable adults die.
Yeah. For me, it's athletes on television where it's like,
oh, brother.
Oh, here's the oldest MMA fighter
Yep.
in the world, and he's younger
Dude.
than I am. It's like, oh no.
With Vince Carter gone, I am officially older than anybody in the NBA.
Oof.
I think I am now the older than any Major League Baseball player left. There's a couple old-timey hockey players left, and Tom Brady's my dad's age. He still plays football for a living, apparently. But once he finally, whatever wizard curse or spell he has, finally runs out, he turns into a pile of dust.
Yep.
I will be... Well, there's Drew Brees. There's a handful of kickers and punters, but at what point do you just stop considering a kicker, a punter, an NFL player?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna hit me when I'm older than anyone in the top of the four major team sports.
Yeah, that'll be a rough day for you, my man.
Thankfully, I don't ever have to worry about that happening in pro wrestling because I'm pretty sure Terry Funk is still alive.
Yeah.
And
Ric Flair was on Monday Night Raw this week, so you're fine with wrestling.
Did he take any bumps?
No, he didn't take any bumps.
Okay.
He's involved in a horrible storyline, which is also redundant, much like shitty ventriloquist.
Like so bad it's good horrible, or just kind of sad horrible?
Nah, it's like bad and uncomfortable. There's like, I'm not going to get all the way into it, but he's like, because his daughter wrestles. Charlotte Flair has been big for a while now.
Yeah.
And she's great.
She's very good in the ring, yeah. That back bridge figure four thing. Ooh, this is quickly turning into a pro wrestling podcast.
It always does.
Yeah.
But he's on TV now because the angle is that like her and her rival, who she's in a feud with, her rival and Rick are like, it's kind of played off, may or may not be hooking up. It's uncomfortable is what it is.
Yeah.
It's gross.
And kind of sexy.
No, it's pretty reviling. I'm not.
I think that's a to each their own type thing.
Nothing about
moving on.
nothing about seeing Lacey Evans gaze into Ric Flair's wet eyes gets my motor running.
Why is he always crying? I saw Ric Flair about 5 or 6 years ago. He was in Fargo for some kind of. None of it made sense.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it was like. We got there, it was like a seminar on like remodeling basements for man caves. And then there was like a drawing for the NCAA basketball tournament. It's like, does everyone remember that Ric Flair is the main attraction? Like, what's he even doing here? Then Ric Flair did finally get up. It's all these just fat, present company included, fat neckbeards waiting around in a half-full auditorium for Ric Flair to come talk. And he did. And he's very interesting. He talked about wrestling in this area because he's a Minnesota guy, at least at one point in his life. And like, Jesus Christ, Ric Flair was very well-spoken, seemed very calm, and he signed a bunch of autographs, had that $1 million smile, as he always did. So I'm kind of depressed. I want the full Nature Boy experience. Like, I want to see him holler at somebody about how kick-ass his watch is. And then he goes and sits down. And then meanwhile, they're on fucking stage talking about goddamn fucking, I don't know, remodeling your bathroom or something insane. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? But I look over my shoulder and I see he's now sitting in the back of the Fargo Theater. Someone brings Ric Flair either 2 aluminum 16-ounce Miller Lights or Bud Lights. I can't recall. He drinks those very quickly. I don't know if he has a couple more, but that shit was like Popeye eating spinach. 'Cause for a brief moment, we got Nate. He ended up going up on stage, now visibly drunk, and there was like an intern from the Butt Rock station that was running this whole fucking thing. Her name was like fucking Clarissa. And he's like, you know, sometimes in wrestling, they chant, "This is awesome. I think we should chant, Clarissa is awesome."
Oh, boy.
So everyone's looking at Clarissa is awesome. Yeah, that's it. It's like, fucking A. Finally, this is paying off. Oh, my God. I'm so happy. That made it all worth it.
God damn it, Rick.
She is maybe 19. You are 75 going on 1 million.
You've been 75 for 30 years, Rick.
You're so liver spotted. It's tough to tell which shade is the liver spot.
God bless him. He's still out there doing it.
Oh, man. Yeah. What an angel.
Styling and profiling.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Because I think this is something that should go on the podcast. Here's a little peek behind the curtain for our dear listeners.
Okay.
We just had to take a little piddle break because that's what happens with men of a certain age. You can't talk for 2.5 hours without having to piss 4 to 5 times. So we just took one, and as I was doing that, I noticed a spot on my foot, which I was like, you know what, that spot's been there for a while. So I go up to the bathroom sink, and I put my foot up on top of the sink, and I just realized, like, I was somehow able to kick my leg up on top of like a 4-foot tall, like, you know, bathroom vanity type thing. It's like, I didn't think I had that in me. And it kind of made me feel good. Like, I just kind of like time cop that shit. Like Van Damme, just casual whip your leg up. Like, always been weirdly flexible, which I don't know. That might paint a distasteful visual for the folks that know me. But
after all that talk about you being past prime with all the athletes being younger than you.
Yep.
You can.
I used to legit be able to get a foot behind my head. I think those days are probably come and gone, but we could get there.
I think you should try, and we should film that.
New Year. Oh, man, there is some weird middle-aged businessman that would pay a chunk of change to watch me attempt to do that.
Well, I got kicked out of the train driving school. I guess I'll watch this.
He's very close, very nice. Oh, he's really grunting now. He thinks he's going to get there.
Look at that boy sweat.
Yeah. I was checking out this spot. It's like, oh, look at that, as it finally as, Papa Diabetes come home, visit his little boy. But it's not like a scab. It's like, well, that's good. But then it's like, I've noticed it a handful of times. It's been there for months now. It's like, well, what is it then? I don't like random spots. So I'm like, is it a new freckle? Aren't I too old to be getting new moles and freckles? Like, if that is sun cancer, I'm going to be like, my fucking feet. You know how rarely they see direct.
Yeah.
The goddamn boiler room of the Titanic has seen more sunlight than the top of my feet. What the hell? I demand a refund if my feet have skin cancer. So stay tuned for that in future episodes.
Well, stay tuned for that in 11 months when Nathan saves up enough to go for a minor checkup at the doctor.
Or I just lose all my money so it doesn't even matter anymore.
That works too.
The poker tables will open again. Things can get real pear-shaped financially.
I don't want this to sound insulting, which is always a good start to a sentence.
Yep, this is going to be good.
I'm surprised that you have not fallen into some manner of online gambling during all this.
If there was more trustworthy options, like if we wouldn't have had Black Monday like all those years ago, because there used to be a million different online poker things, and like the ones that exist now, I'm just not sure. I know I have friends that play them. I'm just like, I've heard stories of people not getting their money back, or it's a huge hassle to get your money out. So I don't know. I'm kind of shook, and I just think I'm a better live poker player than an online poker player.
Okay. I'm a bad poker player all around, so
Did you never get the bug?
That. No, I never did. Like, I'll play a $5 game in a buddy's garage with 5 other people while we're drinking, but it's mostly just a vehicle to sit and drink with your buddies.
Yeah, just the social aspect more than anything.
Yeah, I'm a social gambler. But I don't, like, I know the cards. I know what I want. I know it's like blackjack. I know the mechanics. Or I know the end result I want, but not how to get there. Maybe that's how to put it.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And like I'm a horrible fucking I have the worst poker face. Like if I get my 2 cards and I peek under them and I see pocket rockets, I like big smile, yeah, and then I just bet a lot. Everyone folds, and that's the end of the hand. Like I'm not good at that part of it. I'm not good at the playing poker part of playing poker.
You have a lucky beanie you wear whenever you get a good hand. The propeller spins.
It may as well. Like I don't. And I have no sense of
under your breath. Yeah. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I have no sense of like, okay, I have good cards, what should I do? Or I have bad cards, what should I do? Like
you don't, yeah.
Like if I have even moderately good cards, I'm in. So everyone at the table immediately knows that if I'm playing, I have something. They just don't know what.
You don't have that strategy for how do I extract maximum value when I do hit a monster hand.
Exactly. So when I do have a good hand, maybe one drunk buddy will come with me and I'll take his fucking 40 cents or whatever we got on the table. Yeah. But like I don't like having to hide my excitement or disappointment. It's like blackjack, cards face up. I can get 20 and be thrilled. You know, I don't have to try to hide it. Not a good poker player.
There you go. Probably for the best. Just like when I hear people say, "Oh, I wish I could learn how to play blackjack." I'm like, God, you will someday rue those words. I hope that game seems ominous and off-putting and intimidating for the rest of your life if I consider you a friend. You do not need that in your life.
If, like, on a scale of 1 to 10 with blackjack, if 10 is card counting mathematical genius and 1 is slamming my head on the table in order to get a hit, I'm probably a 6.5 or a 7. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not some savant, but I know what I'm doing. So, like, blackjack I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. I do too, to my own detriment.
Well, maybe you should just be better at blackjack.
No, bro. You know what better at blackjack is? Not playing. Not playing.
What happens? Where do you get into trouble? Is it do you start betting angry?
No, not really. It's just, I mean, the game, mathematically, you're never going to come out ahead if you play long enough. Like, it's designed, like, they wouldn't have the game in the casino. Like, have you seen how many lights there are in a casino, Marlin? They're paying that electric bill. I've never driven by a blacked out casino.
Right.
And I mean, that shows what a scam gambling is, because blackjack is one of the games that leans a little more in the player's favor. But still, even if you do everything right, you're just not going to win, like, over the long haul. And I'd say part of it is, I don't know. Well, a lot of it is I just play for too high a stakes for what I'm comfortable with, which I am a very cheap man, so I get salty over losing a couple $100.
Right.
But yeah, so it's just that part of it. I shouldn't lose money that makes me salty. Like, I should be able to just to go, like, live and learn and walk away, but like, nah, I always get in too deep and get pissed if I lose that kind of money. But yeah, no, I mean, by the book, I do everything almost exactly right. Like, man, this is turning into a goddamn blackjack podcast. Like, the book says to split 8s against faces and aces. I hate that. But I do it because now I do it. I used to never do it because I used to this day, I feel like, oh, so instead of one shitty situation, I now have 2 shitty situations. I just hate it.
Instead of a 16, I pay twice as much and get 2 15s or something.
Yep, exactly. Delightful. The dealer has a 20? No fucking shit. Never been more sure of anything in my life.
I always split 8s. I'll split 8s a third time if it shows up. I'll split 8s till I'm out of chips.
Yeah, I love it against if the dealer has a rag. Then it's like, oh, this is money making time now. But yeah, against an ace or a face, it just, oh god, yeah. And so often you get that third 8. It's like, well, you're supposed to split it again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now terrific, 3 terrible hands.
Now this $10 hand is a $30 hand, and now now Daddy's really got to make it big.
Oh, God gave me a deuce. I get to double down. Bet I get a 7. There, sure enough. Terrific.
Christ. I miss playing blackjack. Holy shit.
Yeah, I kind of do too, and I wish I didn't. Wish I outgrew that.
It's fun. You got to know when to quit, I think that's your thing. I think you sit down at the table and you lose $50. And rather than being like, well, I guess I lost $50. I'll go do something else. Instead, you go to the ATM and you get $100.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Because you're going to show them.
It's mental illness. A friend of mine pointed it out because they have the same problem with it. Like, a lot of it is, when you're playing blackjack, you're out of your own head because you're just thinking about the cards and the game. For that moment, you're not thinking about the shit that makes you mentally ill. You're not in your own brain. And you just get there. It's like, oh, I like being here because I'm forgetting about how crazy I am. And then later that night, you're crazy again. And you're also pissed because you lost $200. So, yeah. Man, I have friends that are listening to this podcast. They're like, oh, how cute. You lost $200.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all relative. That's a lot of money to me, too. But some millionaire doesn't think $200 is a lot. I don't know how many millionaires you're trucking with these days. But
I have friends that make $14 an hour that'll lose $1,000 in blackjack.
Jeez.
They are one step ahead of creditors all the time.
Oof. I do miss it, though. Well, we'll get there. We're all going to get
do
all vaccinated up, baby.
Got an email about being ready for getting a message about getting a vaccination.
So did I. I got one that basically didn't say anything. It just said, "Hey, we'll send you an email when you can come get your poke." That's about all I've received. But
big things poking in the poking world. Fill me full of your. I want to be so fucking full of nano fucking recorders so Bill Gates can watch me fucking beat it, dude. That dirty little computer boy, him and his wife are gonna lay in bed and watch me just torque off, man. So hot. I'm into it, Bill. Don't worry.
Release the Nathan tapes, Bill.
Yeah.
Episode number 6 of season 8 of The Simpsons is A Milhouse Divided. Marge, not a fan of eating in the living room, which, for the most part, neither were we when I was kids. We ate in the kitchen.
Yep, not at all. We were definitely a kitchen-eating family.
If there was company over, we ate in the dining room because there were more chairs in there.
Hollywood. Wells with the 2 different spots to eat food in their house.
Yep, we had a dining room. We were very fancy.
You were dressed up in your little Lord Fauntleroy outfit with your little tiny little pantaloons.
It's like Bart in this episode with his suit but shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marge wants to have a dinner party and have people over. Were your parents like dinner party, cocktail party parents?
No, that was...
Did they...
I don't even know if that level of upper crust existed in Botno, but if it did, we were not a part of that scene. I don't know if you know how most single-wide trailers are designed, Marlin. They're not meant for hospitality.
It's like how your buddy with an efficiency apartment never has company either.
Yeah, it's very narrow. Tough for people to pass in hallways. Your aunt's going to lie on top of the washer and dryer so your uncle can walk by.
We didn't have fancy parties or anything, but like we would have like some other family friends and their kids over for like dinner and drinks on New Year's Eve or something like that. No, we weren't fucking pinkies out or anything, but I'm pretty sure there were punch bowls involved sometimes.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And both of the dads would sit and drink. Like, I remember cocktail parties.
When I was really little, when my mom would be gone or something, my dad would have poker nights, but there was no punch bowls. It was just lots of alarming amounts of Old Milwaukee drink and probably an alarming amount of racist jokes.
Just full of smoke. The house filled with cigarette smoke.
I loved it because I just knew it was something I wasn't supposed to be at, but my dad wasn't going to keep wrestling me into my bedroom. You know? Trying to wrestle a determined 4-year-old, it is tough to keep them contained.
They're real flailers.
Yeah, they can squeeze through the smallest cracks. I remember my mom maybe having a Tupperware party once. My parents' social life was just an endless fight to get out of that trailer. Just throw me and my brother out of a moving car at my grandparents' house and they'd go to the local bar.
Well, they've made it. I've been in your folks' house. They made it out of the trailer, so...
Yeah.
All it took was getting rid of you, I think.
Yeah. No, I did live in that house towards the end of high school, so... They really started upgrading shit right as I had one foot out the door.
Yeah,
which,
funny how that works.
Yeah. Wait until right after I graduate high school and move out before they get a satellite dish. Terrific.
So at the cocktail party, the dinner party, it's the Simpsons and the Hibberts. So we see them and I have written here the Milhouses, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Mm-hmm. But the Milhouses are there, and their marriage is apparently not doing well, and they're just fighting the entire time and making everything super awkward for everybody else. And then the families go to the living room and play. What is the Guess What I'm Drawing? Is that Pictionary?
Yep.
So they're playing Pictionary, and they have this huge blow-up, knock-down, drag-out marital fight in the middle of the Simpsons living room. And it's at this point, or maybe in the next scene, well, first off, Luann informs Kirk that she wants a divorce. What a thing to do at someone else's dinner party.
Oh, so great. And that whole scene was so well done.
Oh, it was awkward. Like, that was an uncomfortable scene.
Like, one of the pluses of the quarantine times we live in is I haven't had to be part of an awkward social situation. Like, God, shit. Like, you ever get in on that shit when you were a little kid? Like, be at somebody's house and, like, their parents are having a fight?
Yeah.
I hate it. Like, I watched a friend of mine's aunt and his grandma just scream and they're bawling. And I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, hands in the air, like, hey, I am not one of you. Like, do you recognize me? No, you don't, because I'm not your fucking nephew.
Hey, maybe save this for when you don't have company. How about...
Yeah. I know I'm just one grubby kid to see a grubby kid, so you might take it for granted. But
yeah, I remember being a kid, being like staying over at someone else's place for a birthday party or something, and the folks getting into a fight. That is the most awkward fucking thing. Or even as an adult, to be around an arguing couple is the fucking worst thing in the world.
Yep.
Ugh.
I get angry. It's like, go fucking home.
Right.
Fuck you guys. Go fucking home. Don't bring our mood down because you guys made a dumb fucking mistake when you were in college. It's like, you dipshits. The fuck did you get married for? Like, you know you suck. They probably suck too, because why else do they want to fuck you? Go home and sit in this because you deserve it.
Like, oh, there's 15 of us at this barbecue and we're all having a good time except for fucking Jacob and his wife, who are yelling at each other through the bathroom door that she's locked herself in, crying.
Yep.
Fuck.
Go home. You dumb
I hate that
fucks.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's at this.
Be an adult, get a divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
That's the thing. Like, work it out or don't, but do it somewhere else.
Yeah, like, oh, what about, like, if God loved you, he wouldn't have put you in a loveless marriage. So he's either dead or hates you. So fucking deal with that, and then deal with the fact you made a big fucking mistake.
Like,
Go on with your life.
You guys clearly aren't enjoying yourselves. So
Yep. Oh yeah.
It's at this point where it's brought up that I thought this family's last name was Milhouse.
Oh no!
The
Van Houtens.
I had no idea. We are fucking 160 episodes into this goddamn show. I had no idea that Milhouse was not Milhouse's last name. I thought...
I am very happy about this because rarely am I the one on the right side of a Simpsons flub up. Usually.
I thought...
Treehouse of Calamity.
I genuinely thought that was his last name, and that's what they just called him, the way sometimes you call a buddy by his last name, you know? Because who the fuck names their kid Milhouse? Your first name? No.
Yeah. Well, isn't Richard Nixon's middle name Milhouse?
Maybe, but that's a middle name. Like, that's...
but I mean, it's still,
It's not... If his name was Milhouse Nixon, that would be fucking bonkers. You'd be like, what? Why? No, you don't get to be president.
I hope his dad's name was Richard, so they did around the house call him Milhouse.
Oh, God. So it's at this point where I learn in season 8 that that Milhouse's last name is Van Houten. Had no idea.
Oh, man.
I've referred to that family, his parents, as the Milhouses before. In my notes for this very episode earlier, it says the Milhouses are making things awkward.
Yeah, it's so great. Just from this one scene, I have so many notes because it's so good.
Is it the school bus scene?
Oh man, I was like earlier. I don't want to get us too off there, but earlier, I like when Marge is looking. First off, I love the Marge going off the rails. Anytime she does, like she's just flipping out about what kind of shit they got to have at their dinner party.
Yeah.
And when she looks, I think it's on like a. I can't what she's looking at, like a melon ball, or it says she goes, "Made in the USA? No, thank you." Like, what is that supposed to imply?
Yeah, an indictment of quality. I think that was an oyster mallet or something that she had.
It was. It totally was. Yeah. And it's right when Mr. and Mrs. Van Houten are kind of, you can tell there's a little trouble in paradise. When something about like, you should have seen him handle the boys that egged our Bonneville. I like that the Van Houtens, I do it too. I was just in the Milhouses. The Van Houtens are subject to like teen pranksterism.
Yeah. Which of course they are. They're pretty lame. And Milhouse also is lame.
The lamest. Yeah. I do like that they are a sensible family that picked out a good, sensible, full-size sedan, because I was a proud Bonneville owner for the better part of a decade. So good looking out.
You
Van
do
Houtens.
love you a full-size family sedan.
Oh, bro. That car was an angel.
And I'm certainly not going to give you any shit for it, because that's usually what we take to comedy gigs, and I like to ride in comfort.
Just careening across frozen wastelands in giant family sedans.
Yeah, that's
showbiz.
That LeSable of yours, it's like riding a couch down the highway.
Oh, bro, it's a Mercury Sable now.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say it?
I thought you said LeSabre.
Oh, I think I did. Are those two different cars?
Yeah, that's a Buick.
Oh, excuse me.
All grandparent brands. Buick, Mercury.
All defunct now, I believe.
No, Buick is still, they survived the GM purge of the late aughts, unlike Pontiac and Saturn. Man, this country lost a lot when we got rid of Pontiac.
Yeah, no, we're still recovering.
Buy a brand new Trans Am. What a world we live in.
And we wonder why we're having so many problems.
Yeah. If you are a skid in a small town and a Mountain Dew machine accidentally tips over on top of you and you get a settlement, you should be able to drop all that fucking money on a brand new Pontiac that afternoon. But no, not in this America.
No, how far we've strayed so far from the Lord.
Yeah, exactly. What do you get now? Oh, I got a new Honda Fit. Like, no, that's not cool.
No, it's not. You're not wrong. It's not cool.
It was a much better car than the Trans Am, I'm sure. Runs decades longer, but god damn it. And it doesn't have it doesn't have any kind of bird on the hood,
right.
Let alone a screaming fucking eagle.
The scene on the bus, I think, is so good, where, like, Milhouse assumes that Nelson is coming over to bully him about his parents getting divorced, but Nelson just like sits next to him, and because Nelson, also from a broken home, explains how tough his folks' divorce was on him, and then the bully, the bald-headed bully of the trio, is sitting across the aisle from them in the bus, just like, yeah, divorce is hard, but, my son, turns out that bully has a kid.
Yeah. When he leans back and the bully's kid pokes his head forward and goes, I sleep in a drawer. There was like a 10-minute chunk where I was laughing continuously, like, earlier during that really awkward fight between Milhouse's folks, when like Marge doesn't know what to do, and she's like, Lisa, you should come in here. And Lisa is like waiting. Like she just immediately is there. It's a grand old flag. And she's like marching back, and I fucking die. She is so happy to entertain. She doesn't care how awkward it is in the room. Get that big smile. It's so great.
Yeah, and that's the song. Like, of course it is.
Yeah. She said, just wait. She's right there, just waiting for the chance to get to sing.
Yeah. She's been waiting for it all night.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
We get a flash of Homer visiting Kirk at his new sad single dad apartment, where he has a race car bed, which is something for an adult.
Yeah. I sleep in a full bed with my wife that I'm in love with.
things continue to not go well for Kirk. He's fired from the Cracker Factory because crackers are a family business. We don't even know if single people like crackers. That whole scene is great.
I love how there's multiple Cracker Factories. They're now tied for 6.
Yeah.
With Allied biscuits. Oh man, this episode, dude.
We go see Luann, who is now dating an American Gladiator, which is
Pyro,
which is fantastic. I know my American Gladiators, and Pyro is not a real American Gladiator.
Yeah, but good on them for creating a name that easily could have been an American Gladiator.
Absolutely. To go with Tower and Nitro and Saber and Lace and Ice and Siren and Storm. I watched a lot of American Gladiators.
Just to show how fulfilling my life is right now. Within this last 10 days, I have typed in Gladiator hosts and went from top to bottom to see which ones I'd forgotten about.
That show was
there
brilliant.
There were some oddballs. There were some randos that were only there for just a hot second.
Yeah. I don't think Thunder stuck around for long. He was the long-haired beach surfer looking dude.
Malibu. In season 1, it was Malibu. He only made it one season. I didn't even know there was a Thunder, but does not... That totally adds up. Thunder had to be high on their marker board in that office of list of names.
Also, it was like the late 80s, early 90s, and tokenism was what it was. So there was exactly one black guy and one black woman American Gladiator.
But later on, there got to be more.
Yes.
After like Gemini had to hang it up, there was that dude that was also in the Mortal Kombat movies.
Oh, fuck. I didn't
He played Jax in the Mortal Kombat movies. I don't know what his name was as a gladiator.
Oh, I wonder if he's... I bet he's still going around doing signings in non-COVID times.
I would think so. But then there was it a deaf man or a deaf woman?
I believe there's a deaf woman on there named Siren.
There you go. Yep. Which... Is there supposed to be some irony, perhaps cruel irony, in naming a deaf person Siren?
I was about to say,
can't hear it.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
Weird that you named her after like an auditory thing, but okay. Yeah,
we'll laugh at her sadness.
She was the one. If you watched closely, like if she was on like the, say the rings or whatever, when the whistle blew, someone had to like tap her on the shoulder to be like, okay, it's time. Stop hitting this mild-mannered middle-aged woman from Milwaukee.
Yeah, who was just doing this because her kids are busy being on Double Dare at that time.
As she just continues to flail on her with this jousting stick with a big boxing glove on the end of it.
Yeah. One of the people would have to run over to the set of Assault and grab one of those air cannons and shoot her with a Nerf arrow.
Yep. Yeah. That was always my favorite. I always liked Assault. That was my favorite.
I always like to. Sometimes, if just bad luck, you get up there, you're the contestant, you get, like, the air pressure must have been low. You just get a limp dick rocket shot. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I like that. I always liked that the last station was just tennis balls for you to throw with your hands, like 2 or 3 of them. Just a last ditch effort. You made it all this way. Just throw a ball, I guess.
Yeah, see how that goes.
I always liked that one, and I liked, we get to see it here, the Atlas spheres, which is hard to say, where you're locked in the big gopher ball and have to run around the course. That one's always fun. I didn't care for the one where you just like run down the hallway while they hit you with pads, because that's something.
The gauntlet?
Yeah, the gauntlet, because that's something easily recreatable by the older kids in school.
Yep.
So,
man. And some of those gladiators, they took their day out on you. Holy shit.
Yep, that event in particular, you felt bad for the contestants.
Remember Hawk? Someone needed to have a talk with Hawk. He had troubles at home, or I think he thought about his dad during that and he got really angry. It's like, Hawk, these are just people. They don't...
Yep, just regular folks.
They do not need that kind of abuse.
All right, line up, everybody. Ice didn't sleep well last night, so buckle in.
Yeah. I like the rings because, man, the rings was a lot like a nature show. You got to watch. Right away, they'd be real spry. They would try, but boy, they didn't have that upper body strength. And then here comes Tower.
Yeah. Wrapping his legs around you, just like a goddamn python.
I'm sure an early teen Nathan got a real kick out of watching one woman wrap her legs around the neck of another woman, and really a lot of grunting
I'm sure
and heavy breathing. Yeah. A lot of hands-free blasting during those days.
Especially
another pair of sweatpants soiled.
We know that you're a fan of like the high-sided bikini bottoms of the day too. The
which those are very prevalent on the gladiators.
Bodybuilder bottoms that come up to your top rib on the sides.
Yeah. If you're thin enough, you can hang them on your ribs.
So Luann's dating an American gladiator who invites Milhouse to like hit him with a chair, so he breaks a chair over his back.
Oh, fuck, I forgot.
And then they go off on a date in the Atlas sphere rather than a car. They go rolling the Atlas ball down the fucking street. Then we cut to Homer in the bath, just taking a bath, minding his own business, and Bart comes from behind and just breaks a chair over his back.
Oh my God, did I laugh.
Holy shit, I was dying.
The noises Homer made were so good.
Just fucking sucks him with that chair. And there was no like, it wasn't cartoonish. It was weirdly grounded. Him just like, oh, what the, just upset right away. And, holy shit, that killed me. Just full on decks him with that chair. We see Homer and Kirk out at Moe's, and Kirk is quick to show off his new lady friend, who immediately steals his car and throws his demo tape out the car window, which breaks all over. And Kirk's lamenting about how he should have seen the signs that the marriage wasn't going well and all that, and it's mirroring a lot of Homer's behavior. And Homer starts to worry that maybe he and Marge aren't on as stable ground as he thought they were. And as he is prone to do, immediately starts overcorrecting and overdoing it. Wakes her up at 6 a.m. in order to tell her he bought theater tickets for the entire season of the theater, and tries to give her a haircut at the salon, which is
so great.
Horribly misguided.
So wonderful, yeah.
And he's kind of lamenting to Lisa about it and recounting how they got married at old Shotgun Pete's. We get to see that again. And how maybe that wasn't the marriage that Marge wanted. And then we see Homer go down to the Hall of Records and get himself he files for divorce. And I was confused as to where this was going. Marge gets home, and Homer has a surprise party waiting for her and re-proposes, and so they can have a second wedding. She's like, oh, we don't need to do that. And he's like, actually, we do. We got divorced today, which pretty sure it takes 2 people to sign that form, but whatever. It's a cartoon. So he throws a surprise second wedding, and they are doing just fine. And Marge is happy with the wedding, and they're having the reception. One of the Doobie Brothers is there playing saxophone, and Kirk gets on the mic to make his grand display, and he sings Luann a song and is like, what do you say? How about we put this back together? And Luann is like, yeah, no. And then Pyro throws Kirk out, and that's great. The end of the episode.
Yeah. Easily Easily top 5 episode for me.
Yeah, this was a very good one.
Episode 7 is Lisa's date with Destiny. You know you're in for a good one when it starts with a Superintendent Chalmers and Principal Skinner interaction. This relationship is now abusive. I think we can both say that is.
Judging by how like head shy Skinner is of Chalmers, yeah, probably.
The years of emotional, psychological abuse have taken their toll. And he is like, shell-shocked just in the presence of Superintendent Chalmers, who's just there to show off the car that he has purchased. It's a Honda, and he acts like he has just bought a fucking Bentley.
He is too proud of this
Very
Honda.
proud. He deserves what happens because he is flying too close to the sun. What a hubris. Superintendent hubris. Oh my God. One of my favorite lines of the week is fucking Skinner explaining how one day he would like to be a car owner, but he's having to pay his mother retroactively for all the food he ate as a child.
Oh my
Holy
God, I
shit.
laughed at that.
Fucking ate it. And how little credence Superintendent Chalmers, like this, I would stop and ask for an explanation of that. But he's
You
just
would
so
have
busy
questions.
gloating.
Yeah.
Until he discovers that the H on the hood, he is very angry that H is gone.
Someone stole his Honda hood ornament, hood emblem.
Man, there is nothing more mid-90s juvenile delinquent than selling hood ornaments. Fuck, it's been a long time since cars came with hood ornaments.
Yeah, I was about to say, my car doesn't have an emblem or hood ornament.
Like, remember, up until sometime in the 90s, Dodge pickups still had the big ram head on the hood. Because those were very popular with thugs. Get that stolen.
And then do what with it? What do you do with a stolen hood ornament?
One of the dipshit juvenile delinquents I went to, try to glue it onto a chain and wear it. It's like, that looks dumb, first off. And you live in a town with 2,000 people, so you're just advertising. There's been one crime committed here this year, and you're bragging about being the one that committed it.
Well, I mean, things haven't gotten better. We just watched a bunch of dickheads, try to take over a government building all while taking selfies the whole time. No one's gotten smarter.
If you're on your second marriage, or your buddy is, you've already ran out of all the ideas for what you're going to do for your bachelor party. Turns out you can overthrow the U.S. government. That is an option.
That's a fun prank.
Yeah, because you're probably smarter than these people, definitely smell better. The guards won't be as repulsed by you. You probably can just walk in, man. They probably won't even put up a fight.
Yeah, especially if you're white. Actually, pretty much helps. Exclusively if you're white.
That helps. Yeah, that's a big part of it. I mean, there's a ratio. It's 99 to 1. If you have 99 white friends, you as a black man can't overthrow the government.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. You might want to let them do most of the yelling. That seems to help, but
just kind of stay in the middle of the crowd. You'll get in.
It's like basic training. You don't want to be the one that sticks out. Just don't want to be too bad. Don't want to be too good.
Yeah,
right in the middle.
Don't make a show of it.
Yeah. And there's a great gag too where they're looking for the H, and Skinner's response to this is he's going to steal the H off of somebody else's car, where it turns out it's that bald-headed juvenile delinquent's Hyundai.
Yeah. Just figuring, one H is as good as the other, I guess.
Yeah. It's got a crowbar. Jesus Christ. And yeah, this is causing a lot of trouble around the school. They don't know who is behind it, and Mr. Skinner, or Principal Skinner, is not going to rest. But him and Willie, they fucking destroy every locker in that hallway.
There's got to be a better way for the authorities of the school to get into those lockers.
Don't you have a skeleton key that opens all the lockers?
You would think.
Was setting your locker a thing you did in school? That's what we called it. It's you would enter your combination, you would pull up on the lock, and then you would wad paper in it so that it wouldn't relock. So you didn't have to fuss with your combination every time. Just open it right up.
our lockers did not have locks on them. They were like, you still slid the handle up and down, to release the latch, but they had the hole in the handle to put a padlock through. But they didn't have a combination lock on the front of them.
Oh, okay.
We also weren't allowed to have padlocks. So
what the fuck?
So no one's lockers were ever locked.
There would have been 5 to 10 kids pissing in someone else's locker at any given time in my school if that would have been happening. Because that was the risk you ran if you set your locker, is someone might realize that and fuck with you.
Huh.
So it probably helped if you were older, and then also if you didn't have a bunch of enemies. Thanks for a good time, Nathan didn't have a lot of enemies.
The most shit we ever got into with people's lockers was we would stack them, where you take someone's textbooks, put them up on the upper shelf at an angle, and then quick close the door so that when someone opened their locker, the books would fall on them. We were big into head injuries.
I'm trying to think if anyone's... I think maybe at one time, this might have been a couple years ahead of me, like the older kids. I think somebody shit in somebody else's locker.
Oof. Oh, that's a tough one.
That's a bold move. That's a bold move.
Challenge. How do you go about...
I think...
Like, I'm wider than a locker is.
You really got to push? Yep. I don't think there's many people... And I doubt, unless you're, I don't know, it depends what you're eating. You're not going to power push it out. I think you got to accept the fact it's just going to land right at the very base of the floor of the locker.
I guess. I don't have the propulsion to make a locker shit happen, I don't think.
Probably have to think about what you're eating beforehand, maybe a couple days beforehand.
Yeah, you got a plan for that prank.
Yeah. Get yourself food poisoning. You suffer for your art.
I remember once we were putting an underclassman in his locker. Classic goof. And we got him in the locker. He wasn't fighting it that hard, and we weren't pushing that hard. We were all having fun is what we were doing.
He liked it.
And we got him in the locker, and just then the math teacher, Mrs. Zeller, came walking down the hallway, and she sees us like pushing up against this closed locker to keep it closed, and she hears the screaming from within the locker, and she looks at the two of us, and she goes, "Who's in there?" And we were like, "It's Chris." And she's like, "Okay." And she took a pen out of her pocket and slid it through the padlock hole and walked away so he wouldn't be able to open it up from the inside. So great.
Yeah, it's probably still in therapy.
We would occasionally also Vaseline or lotion someone's locker handle, so it was hard to slide it up. That's a real innocent prank. You get a little messy. You I can't get in my locker.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
What are we?
Yeah.
That's enough. Come on.
And that's enough horseplay, fellas.
Yeah, fellas. Hey, come on. God, I've never been a big prank guy because I don't like them done to me, so I don't do them to other people.
Oh, yeah. For the most part, neither was I. None of us were really.
I would sometimes do things because they were funny, and then I wouldn't really realize the ramifications. I used to do with my buddy Tim, shout out if he's listening. I would grab him and drag him into the principal's office, and I would tell the secretary, this angel of a lady named Myra. I was like, "Myra, I saw Tim out in the halls, and he was being a fuss budget. I think he should talk to the principal." And since I was like a senior and was never in trouble, I think she just took my word at face value. I just thought it was funny. He'd be stuck in there. And then one time Tim's like, "Yeah, man, I didn't get out of the school till like 6 p.m., dude." Because he was a kid that got in trouble. So I was like, I better quit doing that.
You just narc on him for nothing.
Just because I thought it was funny that he'd be stuck in there until it was like the goof up was, no, it wasn't a teacher, just a random student brought him in.
Oh my God.
I one time did the same thing to my buddy Craig. I got like a ludicrously bad score on a math test, like fucking 17%. Which, funny how that was just a joke. There was no worry that I wouldn't graduate high school, which is very precarious.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, and we're laughing. And then then my other friends like, "Holy shit, look at that! You got 17%." We had a substitute teacher. I raised my hand, "Mrs. So-and-so, Craig Knutson is poking fun at my poor test scores." thinking she would like funnel, like scold him in a fun, like we laugh and make it awkward for him. She fucking hauls him right to the principal's. So I like, and Craig is not a kid that gets in trouble, so I'm like having to run interference. Hey, did not mean that.
No, we're fucking with you.
Because I remember Craig said, Jesus Christ, dude, I'm going to have to take my semester tests because of this. Like, oh, fuck.
Also, you're a substitute teacher. You should have your guard all the way up on being fucked with.
Oh, my God. I remember having a teacher getting, one of the few times I ever got in trouble, because I was running my mouth and just being fucking goofball Nathan, and she, like, jokingly grabbed me by the neck and, like, pretended to, like, throttle me, which... I assure you it was innocent. No one would have thought she was really... And she had very cold hands. I remember I recoiled back and I go, good God, woman, have you been handling bait? Because I knew I would get a pop like that from my buddies. Little did I know, you know, the funny thing about substitute teachers, they talk to the regular teachers. And that lady did not like me. Oh, I remember we had a substitute teacher in shop class that was so scared of us, she just hid in the shadows. We could have literally taken that building apart piece by piece. Because we were mixing cement, and my buddy Damien was there. He's probably listening to this. And we're mixing and just laughing because we know we are basically unsupervised right now, and she decided, hey, I should maybe attempt to do my job, and she poked her head out of the shadows like, what are you boys doing? We got this huge cement mixer, got like a stick in it, like, we're making chili. And she just dispiritedly walked back into the shadows. Like, she's just trying to treat us like an adult and ask us an adult. Nope. Come
Serves
have
her
some.
right.
Yeah. Grab a bowl.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, God damn it. We're going to be here all day. I just thought of like 4 more. This one teacher had the nerve to be excited about her job. She was substituting for the art teacher, who was an angel that deserved far better treatment than she received. And she's like, today there's no rules. You can do this, you can do that, you can do anything we want. And I suddenly go, ooh, God, I can't even think of the exact that I say that can I make a mask of Monty Coleman, who was like a 5th grade child. I just remember seeing something of his in the fucking art display, like the name crossed. She said, you can do whatever you want. Like, yes. Like how fucking terrifying would that be if you were a kid and there's a high schooler making a fucking Leatherface mask of you? Oh my God.
I'm just blown away how Hollywood you were that you had an art teacher. We didn't have an art teacher. Jeez. Yeah. We barely had a music teacher.
Yeah. God, I fucking... If it was not for... I would have struggled to pass high school if it wasn't for art classes. Like, Jesus. My GPA was completely fucking inflated by the endless art classes. At one time, my senior year, I had at least 4 art classes that first semester. 4 of my 7 classes were art classes. That isn't how school should work.
God. As I've said before, like the fact that you got to choose classes blows my mind. So it shouldn't be a surprise that we didn't have, art in school.
You guys were one teacher mishap away from just having one class. You get there at 8 and you leave at 4.
And no one in the school had a free period, so there was no study hall. So they had to make up a class for us our senior year. I don't know, advanced computers, I guess. We'll teach you how to run Excel. Because, how about we just have a free period like a normal school? Nope, that wasn't a real thing. Our high school band was so threadbare of people that my mom played trumpet in the high school band when I was in high school. Great. Isn't that great?
It's a family affair, yeah.
Yeah, we'd be home basketball games. You look over, there's Preston, who's on the basketball team playing drums. Everyone else is warming up doing shoot around, and there's my mom playing trumpet.
That is fucking great.
Oh my God. That school.
What, you know what they should have done? Turn a negative into a positive. You got a few kids that are interested. Make a ska band. It's like the Carson Chieftain ska band.
Yep. Somebody get Marlin's mom some checkerboard pants. We're gonna play some real big fish at halftime. We're gonna mighty boss tone the shit out of this place.
Playing deep cuts, like their minor label shit before they fucking signed on. This is from a live from the Middle East bootleg from 1989. Oh, fuck.
God, fucking small towns, man.
So The Simpsons.
All right.
Yeah. Lockers are demolished. The school is in shambles, but by God, there's one locker left, and that belongs to Nelson Muntz. And it is popped open, and it is pristine. But in his rage of not knowing who stole that H, Principal Skinner punches the wall in sadness, and lo and behold, a fake false wall falls down.
Crafty.
And it is a treasure trove of juvenile delinquent shit. There's like a mountain of stolen goods, and one of them is the H. So our boy Nelson is in trouble, and there's a giant mountain of shit. The kids get to look through it and find their things, and Nelson's supposed to apologize, but he doesn't because he's a real shithead.
Yep.
It's a real shitty kid, that Nelson. And he's outside some of his punishment because there's a great scene, too. It's like, you're going to have to do the lowest, most pathetic job a man can do, janitorial work.
And Willie's like, I'm right here.
I'm standing right here. And he's doing it. And during music class, on the subject of music class, Lisa looks out the window and like giggles at one of the Nelson's shitty antics. And those fucking narc-ass twins, one of them narcs on Lisa, who narcs on Milhouse. And the black girl apparently has a crush on Milhouse. There's a whole sordid affair here going on. But Lisa ends up getting detention, which is rare for her. Nelson also has detention, but he's like raking leaves and stuff, and they have a little bit of interaction between the window. He shows her how to write your name faster on the chalkboard by having this device that holds like 6 pieces of chalk at once.
Yeah, it's the music note, the line tool.
There you go. Yep, good call.
So she can write her sentence faster. Her sentence being, I will not be a snickerpuss.
Yep, so great.
I am going to do what I can to bring Snickerpuss into the modern lexicon.
It's overdue, is what I would say.
Bring back Snickerpuss.
And she watches as fucking Nelson knocks a hornet's nest out of a tree and screams, "Hey, Willie, catch the football." Willie must really be in need of companionship. Doesn't hesitate. It's like, I'm open. And he just flings. All you hear is his screams of terror. He's riddled with wasp bites. And Lisa, she just thinks that's what it's all about. She thinks torturing an immigrant is just the coolest thing a boy can do.
Oh, God. I love her realization, her like inner monologue staring out the window at Nelson like, oh, he's so ugly and he's such a dick. Why can't? And then it slowly dawns on her like, oh no, I have a crush on Nelson.
Yeah. And there's also a B story where Homer, he's in the Quickie Mart. He attempts to dump like the remnants of 4 or 5 candies on top of his donut. Just the dumbest scam.
Pass them off as sprinkles.
Yeah, there's like a whole Mounds bar like that.
And a Twizzler.
Yep.
And an unwrapped Jolly Rancher. Like,
I don't
the fuck?
keep up on the comings and goings of Mounds. Can you still go into any of your favorite gas stations and buy a Mounds bar?
I would assume so.
God, that is an OG grandma candy. I mean, I'll fuck with a Mounds bar, but like,
I'll eat never a Mounds bar.
Yeah, I take an Almond Joy over both, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll take an Almond Joy long before I'll take a Mounds bar. But I assume that if a store is carrying Almond Joy, they got Mounds too.
I remember they used to be a relevant enough candy. They had a lot of television advertisements. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah,
Almond Joys have nuts. Mounds don't.
Almond Joy is fucking horrifically underrated candy.
Yeah,
Almond Joy is... I'm not going to put it in the top 5 or anything, but I might put it on the top 10.
That is bold.
I like coconut. I won't apologize for it. You get... The more coconut I can get stuffed down my gullet in any given day, the better.
Okay, all of our listeners know that you're coconuts. We don't have to debate that anymore. We know you.
No, I won't have this discord of people coming at me about, I think Marlin's some fake coconut bitch. No, sir.
I've seen that son of a bitch eat a coconut rind. I put him in the hospital.
The shell, the whole thing. I'll eat a palm tree in front of you.
Eat a plastic coconut? I don't give a shit. I am cocoa nuts.
I fucking love coconut.
So let's say you got a choice. You gonna take a Snickers over a Almond Joy?
It's probably about 50-50, honestly, because like a Snickers is pretty fucking good.
God damn it, man. We almost lost the podcast right there. I can't believe how close.
If I'd have said fuck yeah, Almond Joy every time, that would have been the end of it.
Yep. I just think Snickers get slept on because they're so popular.
I like the Snicker variants more than I like Snickers.
Oh, a peanut butter Snickers is a
fuck up a peanut butter Snickers. The maple Snickers. Delight.
Just like I like a good Twix bar, but a fucking peanut butter Twix is so fucking good.
Yeah, it's not even in the same league. A peanut butter Twix is so much better.
Oh, man. They brought him back. They had him in the late 80s. There was a little kid, and they brought him back recently as a cookies and cream Twix.
Yeah, those aren't bad.
That's a tasty delight.
I'm trying to think. I'll still take a peanut butter, but yeah, not bad.
How about a whatchamacallit or an Almond Joy?
Probably 60-40 Almond Joy. I do like a whatchamacallit, but it's not an every time thing.
How about $100,000?
Almond Joy. I can reliably say I'll take over $100,000. $100,000 is good though. They're chewy with the crackles in there. Yeah,
nom, man. See, for me, the more mediocre, I would, if Baby Ruth or an Almond Joy, I've never been a big baby. I mean, I don't dislike them. They're still fucking candy.
Yeah, that's the thing. At the end of the day, I'll eat any of these, but
yeah. Like, I always put Three Musketeers and Milky Way. Just like, well, they're not bad, but there's better options.
They're so boring.
Yeah. So there's plenty of times of giving those choices.
Yeah,
sometimes I'd rather just roll with a fucking Almond Joy.
My old man was a Three Musketeers guy, and it's like, there's this whole aisle, right? You didn't have to pick the first thing you found. Yeah. Like, I get that it's silver, it's shiny, and it distracts you because you're not horribly bright, but like, come on.
What's in it's like a fluff kind of inside Three Musketeers, right?
It's like whipped marshmallow nougat.
Yep. But Milky Way is that more caramel? Because I definitely like a Milky Way more than a Three Musketeers.
Yeah, that's just nougat and caramel.
Yeah, the caramels. I'm a caramel guy. You can see that on the choices I'm making here.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm into caramel. I won't disparage caramel, but
a fresh Butterfinger has to be fresh because Butterfingers are like a fucking produce. They go bad in a hurry. They're just like it's like eating chalk after a couple weeks.
There's something about it immediately turns to fucking glue in your teeth, regardless of freshness. But like, I can't bitch too hard about that because number one with a bullet over anything is a Score or a Heath. So, like,
fascinating.
I can't complain about getting stuff in your teeth when I'm just jamming toffee in there.
Are Score and or a Score bar and a Heath bar virtually the same, just different companies?
Yeah, practically. It's just toffee and chocolate.
Man, when I think of Score bars, I think of that as like, and I like it too, but I think of my grandma. That's like a grandma candy bar. Like,
yeah, no,
treat yourself to a Score bar.
They're an old man candy for sure.
Yep.
I won't fight it.
Is a Fifth Avenue bar. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
I was about to tell you that I would take a Fifth Avenue over a Butterfinger because I think they're
they're similar. They're not the same, but they're
folder.
similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
but I think a Fifth Avenue is the better candy.
So I'll still take a Butterfinger, but I will. Man, candy bars are a lot like comic strips in the newspaper. It's hard to make it. Like, I think if you and I started making our own candy bar, they wouldn't be in gas stations in Georgia at the end of the year. Like, I think it's a hard road to hoe.
Yeah, I think all of those jobs are taken. I don't think no one's hiring for new candy.
Once you're in, dude, you are in. Like, they ain't changing. That same shit's there all the time. Like,
yeah.
Because my buddy Ryan is one of the few people I know that his favorite candy bar was discontinued.
Oh, that's a bummer. What was it?
He was a bar none, man.
Oh, he was the only one. Like,
there was 7 of them in North Dakota. They all meet up, trying to make their home brews. Yeah. That's a devastating thing to have happen when you're 11 years old.
Oh, everybody out back, the Bar None guys are about to Jets and Sharks it with the O. Henry bar crowd.
Fucking O. Henry's a good man. Yeah. You don't see many O. Henrys around.
No,
Or trying to find a full-size Mr. Good bar. I bet there's truckers out there that throw away dozens of pounds of Hershey's miniatures every year because they're just in it for the good bar.
Just want the good bar, yeah.
Or a better one is just the Crackle. Well, I never see a full-size Crackle bar.
Yeah.
But you'll sure as fuck see Crackle is a mainstay. It's heart of the order in the Hershey's miniatures mix.
And Crackle used to be some shit. I remember Crackle, like, being big when I was a youth, to the point where I think for the Addams Family movie, like, they would print, like, Addams Family characters on the bar. Or no, I'm thinking of Crunch. Different.
Nestle Crunch.
Yeah, practically.
Nestle Crunch really got into that in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's got a picture of people on it.
Yep. They did a thing with sports that, like, every NBA team, like, you'd open it and see what team was on it. I was like, and because I was a sucker for shit like that, I wanted to get the Celtics, and I ate a million fucking Los Angeles Clippers bars before I got it. I was like, hey, I got it.
And then
guess
you just
I eat it.
Like, there's no...
Keep it in the freezer like a maniac.
Like, the collectible is the thing that you are trying to eat. It's not like when they put baseball cards in gum in baseball cards. Like, those... You can't collect these. They're chocolate.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember gum being a thing that you like. Yeah, like that was just how baseball cards came. They came with gum.
I think I missed out on gum in baseball cards.
Yeah, you just did. I bet it was like 91 or 90. I know 91 did. So I'm guessing 92 or 93 was the last year without gum.
Like, I definitely have eaten plenty of that bad gum because it's that same powdery light pink classic bubble gum.
Has nothing to it, yep.
It's the same stuff that's it's the gum they throw out at parades.
Yeah.
Like what is it, Hubba Bubba or whatever it's called.
Well, see, there's Double Bubble, but I love Double Bubble. Double Bubble is like just a basic bubble gum. Kind of comes like in little barrel shaped with like the twisted end paper.
Yeah. That's the one I was thinking of. Or Bazooka Joe.
Oh, see, I love all that basic bitch.
That's the gum that was, like, I think once they stopped putting them in baseball cards, they just ran them through the paper shredding mill and turned it into Big League Chew. Because that's that gum.
Yeah. But man, for that 45 seconds before that gum lost its flavor, you were living high on the hog.
The one bubble you could blow before it turned into just Quickcrete that you couldn't chew anymore.
What if you were fucking king of the castle for a brief moment there?
I was a big fan of like Bubblicious Classic, which is just the pink gum.
Man, yeah. What are your options for like fruity flavor? If you want to blow some big bubbles with like cherry root beer flavored gum, you got Bubblicious, you got Hubba Bubba, Bubble Yum.
Bubble Yum, yep, that's
Bubble
one.
Yum, man.
I was always just straight up fucking just like, because it came in like the square, like a Lifesavers roll almost, except square, the Bubblicious. And I was always just a straight pink guy.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people over the age of 8 that'll occasionally buy gum like that, because if I'm driving a long ways by myself and I didn't get a good night's sleep, fucking blowing bubbles, man, that'll keep you awake.
Yeah, I usually reach for sunflower seeds for that purpose, but yes, gum will do it too.
So there you go, little pro tip. Any long-haul truck drivers listen to us, well, they already know these tips. If you were thinking of getting into the exciting, fast-paced world of long-haul truck driving, you gotta think about your snacks a little differently. They gotta serve a purpose besides tastiness.
Yeah, they have to. You gotta look into utility snacking.
They need a little tongue work.
Ladies.
Keep your what's up, ladies? I was a little late to the draw there.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, sorry, gals. My bad. So The Simpsons, it's a show. People watch it. So Lisa smitten. Homer tries to pull the scam, and he's, this isn't Apu's first day at work. He is.
Right.
He's seen a lot of shit. He lets him know this is not going to fly. So he's outside. He doesn't get the magic donut, but he sees a telemarketing operation getting busted up. And we find out that they do not take kindly to telemarketers in fucking Springfield.
Not at all.
But Homer, again, he has the attention span of a gnat. He notices there's like the Dial-O-Matic 9000 in the dumpster with all the phones they threw away. It's just a machine that auto-dials, endless auto-dials.
Yeah.
So he sets it up to give him a message. It's like, Mr. Cool Dude, is that right?
Mr. Happy Guy, I think, is what it is.
Guy. Say, hey, I'm a happy guy. Do you want to be a happy guy? Mail $1 to this address. And he bombards his community with fucking horseshit phone calls. Which, again, very selfish man doesn't think of things like that.
His outgoing message has his name and actual address.
Yep. He did not think this
Damn
through.
it, Homer.
Meanwhile, Lisa has approached Nelson and convinced him to come over to her house. And Nelson is very skeptical about all this because he has a reputation to uphold. And there's a great scene where they're in Lisa's bedroom and Nelson is just not impressed with anything.
So bored.
So bored, so angry looking. And Lisa tries to push the fucking cat into that baby bonnet. And I've never been a cat owner, but I know if you want a cat to do something, you've guaranteed that cat is not going to do that thing.
Yep. As a cat owner, that is correct.
You can testify. The way that cat's fighting it, God, that cracked me up.
If I were to try to push my cat into a miniature baby stroller, I love that the cat is just like braced with all four paws, not giving an inch. Like that whoever animated that owns a cat for sure.
And it's so great when Bart just casually walks into Lisa's room and doesn't know that Nelson's there. Just fucking throws him for a loop.
Run, Lisa. Nelson's in our house.
So great. And so Nelson is not really into it, but hey, they're still, they meet up again. Lisa takes him out. They do some non-Nelson activities, which that's one of the best sight gigs. It's just him looking like he does when he's not wearing his vest.
Yeah, when he's like got his hair combed and wearing that vest. Woof.
Yeah.
That like sweater, like patterned sweater vest.
Yep.
Yikes.
It's so great. And they kind of go up to like the observatory. They go kind of like almost like a kind of slash makeout area, but then the other juvenile delinquents show up. And then there's some shit. Nelson's got a choice to make. Does he go with a squad or does he stick with a special lady? And then there is also some comeuppance. They found a bunch of rotten coleslaw behind Krusty Burger, which, man, even as not a real juvenile delinquent, that would have been a home run when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, that is delinquent gold.
Yeah.
Easily huckable, small proportions of rancid coleslaw.
Meant for juvenile delinquents. It's just built for it. And they go and they demolish we get to witness it happening. And then once Principal Skinner realizes what's going on, he's looking out the windows, he sees this, and then they moon him And he's like, if you think baring your buttocks is going to make me in a better mood. And then we hear his mom stirring upstairs. It's like, what's going on?
No, don't look outside, Mother.
I'm going to look outside. And her wail of anguish. It's so great.
They got a real Bates Motel relationship, the two of them.
Yeah, there's probably a human foot or two in the the garage fridge, the deep freeze that only Skinner can reach.
If we hadn't have seen her a couple of times already, I'd be worried she's not real.
Yep, that it's all in his head.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Fuck, I was with the mooning and then her scream, her wail of terror was so great.
Just blood curdling.
And during this auto call, this is ripping the community apart. It's ruining Ned Flanders' life because he refuses to take the phone off the hook in case his mother has an issue. And we also get a great scene of it calling Mr. Burns, which, of course, how does he answer the phone?
Ahoy, ahoy.
And he is given the option of happiness in exchange for $1. And he has $1 in hand, and he realizes, well, I would much rather have the dollar than happiness. Don't change it, Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
Yep. So it comes out that the boys coleslawed Skinner's house. Lisa wants to know if it's true, and he says, no, not at all. And then it comes out later when they're hanging out. In fact, it was true, and he slips up and he lies in front of her, and then he wants to kiss again, because that's kind of passed over a pretty major part, as Lisa has her first kiss with fucking scumbag Nelson Muntz. Yeah, and then Nelson still wants more smooches, but Lisa says you can't have a smooch built on lies, which that's a lesson we can all take from this.
Ladies. And
fellas. Can't have them hollow smooches. They got to be built on trust.
Oh, hollow smooches is a good trivia team name.
Yeah. That's for our dear listeners. If you want to spread the word of America's Barley Basket, start having trivia themed names based off of our inane ramblings.
Yeah.
One thing I'm kind of missing over some of the fun little plot points of this is fucking Milhouse is just desperately in love with Lisa.
I have written here, cuck Milhouse.
Oh my God. When he's like, if I do whatever she says, she's sure to love me.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, Milhouse.
Bring this note to the boy that I like more than you.
Oof. That was a tough scene to watch. I was like, yikes.
God. Yep.
Oof. Oh, Milhouse, man. No. And then, oh my God, the next scene when he gives him the note, like, you see it getting passed towards the front of the class. Nelson opens it up and reads it out loud. It says, "Guess who likes you?" And then he turns back, and Milhouse is leaning out the side of his desk, like, giving him the eyebrows, like, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And then smash cut to Milhouse being wheeled out on a gurney to the ambulance. Yeah. Fuck, I was laughing so hard at that. Just a cut. We just cut that, and here's Milhouse getting loaded into the ambulance.
Yeah, so how destroyed he is. He can't hear you. His ears are stuffed with gauze. And I do like too. There's a later scene when the juvenile delinquents are on run from the cops for vandalizing Skinner's house. And it's the cops inside the Simpson home because Lisa's helping hide Nelson. And you see a gun drawn, and I'm not even hesitating, shots fired, but it's just the chief shooting up the auto dial machine.
Yeah. Put like 4 rounds into the damn thing.
And make sure you bring that to court, because if we don't have that, it's the only evidence we have, and you'll get away scot-free.
Yeah, I love the police force.
Is it this episode too, maybe, or one of the other ones this week, where like It is Chief Wiggum fucking something up, and then he has like this. There's like this weird interaction with the other cops. It's like, in other cities, the chief doesn't go out on patrol like this, and they're like ashamed. We know. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're really sorry. That's such a great little weird side gag.
Consider ourselves lucky every day. Like just this weird.
Because it is kind of true, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's a dichotomy. Sometimes Springfield's huge. Sometimes they have 3 cops.
Yeah. Whatever we need it to be.
Yeah. Springfield's inside us all, is I think what we need to know.
We're all Springfield.
So Nelson has lied. He's lost Lisa's heart. Lisa's still, kind of sweet on him. But she knows, hey, gotta live and learn. And, that's kind of it. Just goes to show girls love bad boys. Mm-hmm. Lucky for you, because you're a bad boy.
Yes, I am.
Dirty white boy.
The baddest boy. I believe we talked about the coconut earlier. Yes, I am as bad as they come.
There is no palm tree-based food product he won't devour.
Yeah. It takes some grit to get into those motherfuckers. Yeah.
I wish video dating was still a thing so you could have a recording like this. Yes, the rumors are true. I am a bad boy. In what ways? Let me think. That's a good question. I should have been prepared. My bad, everybody. Well, my friends like to joke that I'm coconuts, because boy, do I sure enjoy coconut and coconut-based snacks. My favorite snacks, you're wondering? Well, here we go.
I ate most of a tub of cottage cheese standing in my kitchen with no shirt on earlier this very day.
Did not put it in a bowl because I live by my own rules, because I'm a bad boy.
And my number one rule is, why dirty a bowl?
Yeah. You're lucky I use a spoon.
Now,
don't want to lose one kernel of this sweet stuff, or I wouldn't.
Now enjoy this short film of me butchering a coconut.
Me staring vacantly as I eat some weird coconut candy.
If you're curious, my go-to coconut butchering method, because you do got to put some work into them, is to get yourself a Phillips head screwdriver and punch out those 3 eyes in the bottom. Either drain that milk or drain it into a glass. I, for one, don't care for the milk, so that goes down the drain. And then take the coconut and place it in the center of a dish towel and pull up the sides, give that a spin. Now you have a bit of a cudgel, and either on your kitchen floor or out on your patio, get yourself 2 or 3 good Mighty Thor swings and smash that motherfucker down on the ground. Boom, your coconut is open and you can enjoy yourself.
I have never even seen a coconut in person. I've never held one in my hand, let alone open one.
You've worked in a grocery store, Nathan.
I worked in a grocery store in North Dakota. You could grab the fruit section in your hands. Like, someone that was hungry could eat us out of fruit. Sure, we got fucking tits deep in potatoes. Potatoes keep for a while. I worked in a glorified convenience store.
a huge bodega.
Yep, that is a great way to describe it. Yeah,
we got bananas, oranges, and both kinds of apples, red and green. Otherwise, you go fuck yourself.
Our dietary. There were multiple choices of pickled pig's feet, but there was no coconuts.
We stock more than one brand of pickled pig's feet, but you can't get a kiwi for 250 miles.
Yeah, sure. If you want, you can go. If you're on a budget, you get the Hormel pig's feet, but
you want the good shit. You don't want them Hormels.
I mean, we all struggle at times financially. So go ahead, eat the Hormels. But, when you're ready for flavor, you get the Andersons.
On payday, get yourself some Andersons for sure. Yeah. But until
the Cadillac of pickled pig parts.
Yeah. In the meantime, you'll have to slum it with some Hormel tangy trotters.
Hey, you guys got oranges? Fuck, we talked about oranges. It's a collar, not a food. Get the fuck out of here. Who's that asshole? Wonder why all the kids are going blind.
Probably all these pigs' feet.
Yeah. Certainly couldn't be the utter lack of vitamin C in our diets.
Absolutely not. Oh, fuck.
Take care of that blindness. More pork products.
Really, and chase it with the vinegar. Don't dump that vinegar out.
No. What are you wasting that? Oh, yeah. Kids.
You need more collagen. You got to get more pig's feet in you. Boy, do I love pickled pig's feet.
Oh, dude, me too. Man, I miss bars. I miss pickled gizzards. I just want more random pickled parts. To be fished out of a giant mason jar by someone that who knows if they've washed their hands today.
Oh, for sure not. I would guarantee it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like pickled eggs, but I'll fuck up pickled eggs too.
Pickled eggs are dope. We've expressed our love for pickled eggs on this podcast.
I once spent $16 on pickled food at a bar one time because they didn't have a grill and I hadn't had supper yet. So as my friends trying to do comedy on the stage, I sat in front of them, already had told my goofs, and I'm just shoving the most bizarre food products into my... And I smell like brine. Overwhelming. And some of these comics didn't know me. So, he has special needs. I think he just... he might eat the napkin dispenser. This guy is a fucking wild card, man. Like...
It's amazing he was able to hold it together for his whole
very
set.
restrained. I mean, they had salt and pepper shakers. He could have ate those too, but no.
Now he's off the chain.
He did good.
He gets to watch
TV longer when he gets home because he was a good boy.
Oh God. Give him a nice dum-dum lolly at the end of all this. Oh, fuck. One more episode. Episode number 8, Hurricane Nettie. This may be my favorite of the batch.
This is good. This would be number 2 for me.
The whole batch so good, but this is a hot one.
Yep. Great Ned-heavy episode, which is rare, if not the first time ever we've seen one this heavy, where he's basically the main character.
Yeah, not a lot of... We don't usually get this much Ned, and we get a lot of it. There's a hurricane bearing down on Springfield. The people of the town, imagine this, get a little mobbed up pretty quickly. They bum rush the Quickie Mart and are buying everything that's there. I love that the Apu at the Quickie Mart has taken the bags of cat food and crossed out cat and written hurricane.
Yep.
So people are just buying cat food to eat.
So great.
They're evacuating the old folks' home. We get a shot of Grandpa who says, "I was born in this nursing home and I'll die in this nursing home," which I thought was a very funny place for someone to be born, I guess.
God, yeah, that's a great line. I kind of forgot about that.
The storm finally hits. The family heads to the basement to wait it out. You ever have a storm hide in the basement situation in your youth? Well,
yeah.
we're in the upper Midwest, of course.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like it had to be a part of yours too, right?
Oh yeah, I've hid in the basement a couple of times.
See, and what we had the extra fun was we lived in a trailer park, which I don't know if you understand how trailers work. 3 teenage boys can tip a trailer house over, so they are no match for a tornado. So that meant hauling ass to town and hanging out in Grandma's cellar, which was we've discussed. Well, in my head, I thought if you had a finished basement, you came from unspeakable Vanderbilt levels of wealth. Because in my house, At my grandmother's house, it was a dirt hole that she kept canned goods for. That was it. It was just you and a bunch of fucking beets just chilling out in the dark. It was like one little string light bulb. I remember that clearly, too. Just hanging out with one light bulb. Yeah, just waiting to see if we live.
Yeah.
To see if this all going to come crumbling down on top of us. Like, I
had
remember thinking, who were all those beats for? Some Depression-era habits take a long time to break. My grandma canned up until she physically couldn't anymore.
Yeah, that's. I think that's everyone in this state.
So, like, what happened to it all? Like, my grandma owned 10,000 mason jars. That's probably worth more than her house.
Well, if they're full of pickled beets, yeah, because pickled beets are purple gold, baby. I love pickled beets.
Oh, but dude, I have become a late life fan of pickled beets because I didn't like them as a kid because I was an idiot. And now, man, if I'm at a buffet or a salad bar and they got pickled beets, that salad bar just went up way fucking high in my head. Like, it's like, okay, what are we dealing with here? I am intrigued.
I'm lifting the container out of the ice and taking it to my table with me.
Yep. My dad will drink a liter of pickled beet water. Just take that whole thing right to the dome.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
Did you have like a municipal building you had an option to go to too, or is that something far too extravagant for? Like, we had an armory we could also go to if you wanted to mill around with the commoners.
I mean, we would have had to drive 20 minutes to get to, or 30 minutes.
Like a slalom course between the
between the tornadoes.
The tornadoes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just thought I was talking about the mason jars being worth more than my grandma's house. We sold my grandmother's house probably like 3 or 4 years ago for $5,000. For anyone that lives in a major city, right now their brains are exploding.
Yep.
Like, what? This was not a nice house. It needed a lot of updating, but you know what? It kept the rain out.
Yeah, it was a house.
It was 4 walls and a ceiling, man. $5,000.
Yeah, that's...
You couldn't buy a low mileage Chevy Cavalier for $5,000.
I hear that sometimes on other podcasts or other shows or comedians talking about it. Like, oh, you for $10,000 you can buy a pretty nice house in South Dakota. It's like, yeah, then you have to live in South Dakota. That's that's the unspoken price.
Yeah.
But yeah, housing is comparatively compared to everywhere else in the country. Housing in the Midwest, get in on it.
And that's just trash houses, like, because like even in a small town, a good house has value. You know, it's just because the land is worth nothing. You know, like an empty lot in Chicago is more valuable than the nicest house in a small town in North Dakota because just the land alone, like that empty lot in a small town, they're happy someone's taking it up. You know, like
because like what's anyone gonna? No one's gonna put a Starbucks there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, as you know very well, because it happened near you, fucking white supremacists can come to towns here and just get houses because people abandon them. Because, hey, I don't want to live where it feels like I'm on the surface of the moon anymore.
That neo-Nazi from, what was that, 10 years ago now, fucking damn near bought a whole town.
Yeah, he was like... He just jumped around from small town to small... Because he was up in my neck of the woods, too. He tried to do it in Antler, North Dakota. I think he maybe tried to in Sherwood, North Dakota. Some fucking true MVP, some old farmer with a ton of money, caught wind of what he was up to, went and paid the back taxes on every lot in Antlers.
Awesome.
So he like owns his own town now. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck that piece of shit Nazi.
That's good rich guy energy.
Yep, like which we could use so much more of in this country.
Fucking Jeff Bezos wakes up every day and decides not to do that.
Mm-hmm. It's like these guys jerk off to like the Lex Luthor portions of a fucking Superman comic book.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want to be. It's like, you know, you can just give away that money and still live 10,000 years comfortably. Like,
yeah,
that's why we have to kill them all.
Yep. I bet they eat good. I bet you can really grill them up.
Mm-hmm. You know they eat good. So yeah, that meat's high quality.
Mm-hmm. Get some real chef's kiss.
Clock's ticking, fuckers.
Before we drag all the billionaires out of their boats and eat them.
Mm-hmm.
You feed the hungry, and you house the homeless in their homes. It's a two birds, one stone fix that we have going.
I'm all about this.
Where the fuck were we?
Simpsons, I think.
Simpsons.
Is it still Simpsons?
Yeah. So the storm is wreaking havoc on Springfield. The family gets down, hunkered into their bunker or downstairs. Before they go down there, Ned is like, "Well, we're fully prepared." He's not being arrogant about it, but he's clearly very fully prepared. You can see his house is like tarped down. He's like got his shit together.
Meanwhile, none of the shutters are shut at the Springfield house.
Yep, the shutters slamming, just clapping this whole time.
He removes the door to screw
board
over
up
one
a
of the
window.
windows.
Yeah.
So great.
Holy shit. God damn it, Homer.
Oh, yeah.
So they're down there, they're waiting it out. Marge thinks it'd be fun to play with the Rubik's Cube. That immediately is not fun because everyone's just shouting directions at her on how to solve it. Homer thinks that the storm has passed. Lisa explains how eyes of hurricanes work, but he still goes outside and barely makes it back in before wave 2 hits. Finally, the storm passes. They come outside, and miraculously, their house and everyone else's house completely undamaged except for Ned's house, which is demolished.
Looks like a bomb went off.
Yeah, it is just rubble. And Ned, understandably, is pretty shell-shocked about all this. And he finds Maude and Todd. They find Rod, who's been driven through a tree.
Yeah.
That visual of him with his hair flattened out, stuck through the center of a tree. I got a headache. Oh, my God.
So great.
Marge is like, well, I'm sure insurance will cover this. And Maude says, oh, Ned doesn't believe insurance. He thinks that's gambling. Holy shit, that was funny. They end up staying at the, I don't know what you would call it, like a refuge center that they had set up for anyone who gets displaced. So they're sleeping on cots and all that. They see on the television that the leftorium is being completely looted. Kent Brockman reporting on that. So, home demolished, family displaced, business demolished, and then he turns to the Bible as he always does because he's having a crisis, and that gives him a paper cut. Ned Flanders is having a hell of a go of it.
He is really struggling.
And then it turns out that the people in the neighborhood got together and rebuilt the Flanders' house for them, which is a real touching moment until they start taking a tour of the house, and this house is... it's not great. Like, it starts
built by idiots.
Yeah, it starts with like, oh, this door opens a little hard, or at one point they're walking down a hallway and there's a glowing door and Ned's hair and mustache all frizz out. And Apu is like, oh yes, this is the room with the electricity, but it has too much electricity. I recommend you wear a hat. It's a house of horrors. It looks like a Tim Burton film.
Yep. When that door turns out to just be like a 6-inch by 8-inch door, it's like an optical, and all you see is Barney's face in it when he opens it. Like,
that was such a great bit because it looks like the way you draw a long hallway, but nope, it turns out that the hall gets real small. And then, of course, the house collapses. As soon as they step outside, it all falls apart. And Ned finally fucking snaps and goes off on people. Which I was a little torn, like, hey man, they tried, but at the same time, they didn't try that fucking hard, apparently.
Yep. Because I can see, too, like, you get their hopes up. Like, holy shit, you know, our house is back. It's like, no, because these people are fucking dopes.
Yeah.
They can't fucking do anything, and they're lazy, and it's like, oh, my God, yeah.
If I'm like, hey, Nathan, I baked you a cake, and you're excited, and then you cut into it, and it turns out there's a boot in the cake because I don't know how to make a cake, you can be upset about that, I think.
Yeah, man. How about you fucking beta test these cakes before you're so fucking happy to share them with the community?
Let's get a fucking QA process on these cakes, man. Is this a Timberland? These are expensive.
Rubber glove? That can't be sanitary.
Is that a Band-Aid? So he goes off on everybody, just gives them all the fucking rundown. He motherfucks Bart up and down, and Lisa, and Homer. He just is like, you're the worst human being I've ever met. And
so great. Sums it up so perfectly.
Yeah, and Homer's like, oh, I got off pretty easy, because Homer's a fucking idiot.
It was an airing of grievances that I think I needed to. It's like, yeah, you know what? You people do got some problems.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone's here to point it out to you.
Yeah, honestly, for the viewer, it was kind of nice. Like, I feel like Ned kind of got our 8 seasons of complaints out, all in that one scene. And then he just calmly, with music playing, humming along, drives himself to the mental hospital.
just goes right through the gate, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, just crashes the gate. But I love, like, he's just just driving to the mental hospital. He's given the option when he commits himself, okay, do you want to walk in or be dragged away kicking and screaming? I love that that's an option, and I love that he chose kicking and screaming.
Yep. Just casually too, like, that's what I liked about it.
Yeah. Kicking and screaming, please.
Yeah, it's fun.
This is where we're introduced to Dr. Foster, who knows Ned from Ned's youth, because this isn't the first time they've met. Ned, as a child, was apparently very aggressive and angry and rambunctious, and his boy, this shot of Ned's beatnik parents. Holy shit. It's just Maude and Ned, except they're like beatniks. They got the one has the goatee and shit, and they don't believe in rules, man. Like, my God, these two. And
there's few things that get under my skin more than poorly watched little kids. Mm-hmm. Like lazy parents with kids that are acting like animals in public. Oh, man.
Yeah, like...
drive me up the fucking wall.
Like a kid running up and down past the tables in a restaurant, or...
just screaming.
Screaming for no reason. Oh.
That's your fucking kid.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you to fucking raw dog. You guys fucking did that. Deal with the consequences.
Yeah, because on his next lap, I'm going to trip him. And...
yeah.
You know, if he hits his head on a table corner, that's up to God. I'm just placing the foot, and the Lord's taking the wheel from there, okay? So
he's a little kid. They heal quick. He's going to get hurt. It's not going to be anything damaging. He's just going to bawl a lot. He's already loud. Mm-hmm. I'll get some catharsis from this.
Yeah, he's already screaming. I may as well feel good. So we get some footage of Dr. Foster with young Ned, giving him the University of Minnesota spanking regiment, or whatever it's called.
Such a great,
They just show him spanking Ned for 8 months on a time lap. And it works.
How, like, the little his face changes, like the seasons change. Like, neither of them seem that all upset about it. It's just, okay, this is the life we're living.
It's like shoveling snow. There's just no emotion. It's just a chore that we got to do. And it works.
So great.
But this, we learn, is where Ned started doing his diddly-doodly shit in order to not deal with his anger, and has just bottled it up ever since then and never let it go. So when this hurricane situation came along, that's why he blew his lid. Which is why I tell people not to bottle things up. You need a vent. You need a valve to twist open a little bit every so often, because you will explode.
Even if that's just screaming into something.
Yeah, scream into a pillow, or like punch one soft thing in your home. Not like a cat, but like a couch cushion or something.
Yeah. There you go. There's options. There's options out there.
Get yourself a nice foam brick to throw at something. Get a stress ball. Talk to a therapist. Like,
what are you saying here, man?
okay, yeah, you're right.
We're Midwestern men.
I forgot this is America. You can't afford to do that, which is why we have all these other toys like foam bricks and squeezy balls.
Yeah. Those other things cost money.
And work.
Yeah. We can't have that.
We get a quick shot. The Simpsons show up because they want to have Homer try to antagonize Ned to see if he'll deal with his anger in a healthy way. And we get the rest of the family just walking around unsupervised around.
They're even told to. Like, hey, feel
go
free to
explore.
walk around. Yeah.
One of the guys is a cannibal. See if you can guess which one. It's not who you think. Like, it's so weird. And they walk past a room that has the critic in it, who's just shouting "It stinks" over and over again to his orderly.
So great.
Just one drive-by of the critic, who we've not seen in a long time since his crossover episode.
Yeah, that's been a few seasons now. The way this probably been like, I wonder by that time this show was off the air.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the critic was not long for this world. So.
I feel like that was probably season 4 or maybe 5 when we saw the critic on this show. But it was weird to see him again.
Nice touch. I like the little gags like that, kind of like a little Easter egg for those that have been watching the show. Yeah,
that was a fun one. We get Homer antagonizing Ned. He's got a pre-written 3 different scripts of increasing severity, and none of them trigger Ned. Ned is just Oakley Dokley this whole time. Until Homer just kind of goes off script and is like, surely there's things you don't like or even hate. And Ned is like, I hate the post office and my parents. And that's the big breakthrough.
Oh, so great.
And that's it. He comes out and is like, oh, Ned is cured. And that's the end of the episode.
I love, too, that he... Not only is he not getting riled up, but he always says, goodbye, neighbor, or hello, neighbor, when that window comes down.
Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by, or whatever he said. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So great. I don't put it ahead of the one where the Van Houtens, where their marriage falls apart, but my God, this is a very good episode.
That one was really funny, but man, those bits were awkward.
Dude, another thing, I have a note here, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. How about before we see the critic, don't we also see the babysitter?
Oh, is that who that is that's like pacing in the room? Oh, I didn't even catch that.
I think that's an early season.
That's
like
a
the
very
evil
early
babysitter.
one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's who that is. I'm sure there's some Simpson fans out there nodding along with me, or they're furious right now that this fucking jabroni has butchered yet another part of Simpsons canon.
I was even like on alert because I was like, especially after he mentioned cannibal, I was like, oh, are we going to see Hannibal Lecter? So I was like on high alert of who we're going to see in this insane asylum. But I didn't catch that. I hope that is the case.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost positive that's who that lady was. Because she gets away. I was thinking this, but like...
Oh, she does, so, she gets to just drive away.
Yeah, Homer completely butchers any chance of her going away. But hey, crime does not pay. She's proven it. So she eventually got caught.
Everyone gets their comeuppance.
Yeah.
That is another week of America's Barley Basket. We've done it.
We're doing our best. That's all I know. These sons of bitches talk about candy so much.
I need to start listening to skinnier Simpsons podcasters.
Never.
Oh, shit. We'll do it again next week, episodes 9 through 13 of Season 8 of The Simpsons. That is your homework for next week. Quick thank you to our friends at Huntsville Home Video, which is a fantastic movie podcast. If you like the moving pictures and 2 funny people talking about them, might I suggest you listen to Huntsville Home Video.
Why not give it a try?
It's very
Challenge
funny
yourself.
stuff. Yeah,
Listen to more than one podcast.
There's
Not
more.
in Russia.
I don't know if this is breaking news, but we are not the only podcast out there. So
Yeah, man, just rub them all up against yourself. See what feels good. Try them out. Hey, maybe it's not for you. Try another podcast. Why not try Huntsville Home Video out? Maybe it'll feel nice up against you, up inside your head.
give it a rub.
God, just quit being such a coward. Try things.
Take your shirt off. Press the earbuds right against your skin.
If you don't have your shirt off now, I'm not going to say walk away from the podcast, but really reconsider why you're listening in the first place. We want to get you in the proper environment for laughter, and you can't be bound by fabric.
I guess I never considered asking. Nathan, do you have a shirt on right now?
I don't have pants. I'll tell you that right now. No socks, no pants.
Close enough.
I have a button-up shirt because I had to do a Skype earlier, or a Zoom. What year
With
is it?
no
I do
pants.
So I have 3 buttons on a dress shirt done because I had to look like a normal human for a little while. But man, it is. I mean, I got undies on too. Ladies, what up? Don't ruin any Saturday night dreams for you.
Or chairs.
Yeah, that chair should be boiled. These underwear are not thick enough. That's some kind of industrial, maybe sandblasting. If chairs can be haunted by butts, that chair needs an exorcism. Oh my God, that's the abuse that chair has seen. And that chair is from an old armory, so that has had a lot of Bud Light farts from wedding dances on it, but it thought the worst was over.
Nathan, you're an employed grown man. You don't have to have hand-me-down armory furniture anymore.
I'm going into this, out of this world like I went into it. Fucking on the streets, scrapping for folding chairs. Fighting homeless dudes for apple cores.
You don't got a tooth and nail life like you do.
Man, you can take the boy out of Southbrook Trailer Park, but you can't take Southbrook Trailer Park out of the boy.
Amen. Fucking put that on the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I think we're done. I think we're gonna call it.
Cool.
That is another week of America's Barley Basket. Again, 9 through 13 of season 8 is your homework for the week. Please enjoy yourselves. I'm gonna watch football tomorrow. Keep up on the shooty hoops.
I'm going to go apologize to a chair.
Throw some holy water on that armory chair.
It's earned a towel. Just a towel draped over it. So it's not so much skin to metal contact.
Oh, boy. Nathan, there's just a lot that you have going on.
Yeah. I'm lucky I'm in a basement. I'd be sweaty, the 4 things that chair would have to put up with.
God damn it.
Slick.
All right, we're done. We're done.
Bye.